Acorns, which is a time-traveling...
Achron.
Yep, Acorns. Time-traveling multiplayer. Shall I just do a quick play, or shall we just do a very quick one-on-one? Oh, that's loud.
I was thinking of doing increasingly complex one-on-ones. I guess if you want to be a handheld, you could like evaluate the tutorials if you want to do a quick play.
You told me to copy a file. I didn't. Local files. Browse. So this game is so old, we have to hack it or patch it to make it run. It is not commonly downloaded. Yeah, it's a zip file. Shut up. Yeah. And that is an executable file. What, just into the root? Oh, run the executable, right, okay. Is Steam not going to unpatch this?
I think it's that the fans are doing it outside of the official support. Because I think the Hazardo software is doing like serious projects. The game didn't like carry itself financially. So, and
cool. Well, it's patched three files. If I hit, verify integrity, it will promptly undo that. Okay. You see, they've done that thing that Blizzard used to do. It has a dialogue box with a tick box on it, only the tick box is a cross. So does that mean automatic forwarding? No or yes? Anyway, I'll host the game. You've got my IP address. We'll just do a just do whatever, something. Just join me. You know my IP. And give it a bush. A bash. UPnP device found, but not recognised as an internet gateway device. Wait, what? It just went no. It's telling me my router is not an internet gateway device. Definitely is. And I definitely have UPnP because, it's 2021.
Because it's like 19.
yeah, but the game is from almost before it.
It's this Achron, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously, if I Google UPnP, I just want to see what year it was made. The first thing is, what is UMP and why is it dangerous? When a program is running on your internal network, at that point, it doesn't matter if you've got UPnP, you're already fucked.
I think you can disable the UMP usage if it's not benefiting from it.
Yeah, but then I need to forward ports, which I can do. But it really annoys me. It's like once a piece of software is running on your computer, the fact it can then open up a port to allow an incoming connection is completely and totally irrelevant. Wow, 2008? Much newer than I thought. Well, I guess I will forward the ports, because it's one of my favourite things to do on the stream. Just sit here and forward ports. Okay, and that's AKRON or something. It is 7013, 7014, and 7614. And I am 102.168.1.22. Local port's the same, and forward both. What's with the slightly Scottish music going on here?
I think this game had a pretty good composer. The music has stick around a long time for
Okay.
it.
Try joining my game, and we'll just give it the just 30 seconds until I can work out anything about this game whatsoever. I am ready to start.
You are
Well-
the host that you can start the game.
Okay. Dallas, yes, I do want to host the games. I have no idea what's going on. I've got some Q plasma. Here's a triangle.
Yeah,
I
The
see.
blue
right, okay.
stuff, liquid crystals, is the cheap resource, or the main resource, and the red one is the rare resource. As you have selected the humans, you also have to worry about pilots or reserves. The starting building generates them. That's the green resource that you are about to receive.
No.
So as you can see, it plays like a pretty standard RTS. Just some of the UI elements are pretty funky. There is a kind of danger that if I start to talk about all these things, it will turn into a lecture. But we can try to experience them. Don't try to understand it, fail it.
Right, so it's showing me the present, and it's showing me, if things continue, what it will be like in the future.
Yeah, the great thing is the resource amounts that you do collect. Then this can get a little tricky in this kind of game. The blue line means that you are in the present, and the red line means that I'm in the present.
I hope you're taking this in, Max. I hope you are absorbing stuff.
Yes,
Good.
I'm watching.
Oh, just before we start, do you remember my little flexipus, my little flex octopus that I pre-printed?
Sorry, who's that comment directed at?
It's at you. I think I showed it to you before. I was just waving it around on the stream.
All right.
Do you remember that one?
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought you showed me a face hugger, but yes, okay.
Yeah. I printed one on my new printer. Let me put the old one on it to compare. I can't even show you the whole thing. It's come out beautifully. So they are printing
What's
place.
the fucking thing?
It's printing place flex, but it's enormous. Look.
How does it? Is it the legs are out, splayed out sort of thing?
It prints.
Which way round is it printed?
It prints that way up, but obviously the legs are in a spiral pattern. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's come out. It's loud because it's hollow. It's almost entirely hollow.
Oh wow. Flexipus. Does Dora like it?
I tried to make it ride her, and she didn't like that.
Unsurprisingly.
Right, so
So
I
the
haven't achieved anything
big
yet.
units,
So.
big units collect resources,
Uh-huh.
and the soldiers can make more of them. So you could try to make more of them. That's the basic thing. And I have 3D modeled that resource processor from a 2D concept art image. And then it got some fixes, but
Right, marine. Special. So, how do I build more buildings? Which does seem like a fairly obvious thing, but I don't seem to be able to build any.
marine, and then there's the last command, build.
The Marines build things.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, I wouldn't have guessed that.
yeah. This game does some things kind of funky, and it's kind of hard to place whether that's good, interesting, or bad. Right, and you can build multiple things, and because you have built a 4x4 building, that's something other than a resource processor.
Where are the resources coming from?
I assume it's these
From the
little,
boxes,
these
they are
little tank
teleporting
things.
them.
Oh, right. So the ground is irrelevant where you place them.
Well, I've got 4.
Well, they have to be next to them, but yes.
So why is it showing me time in the... Oh, because I could jump back and then go, ooh, that was wrong.
Yes.
So you can undo a mistake potentially, or undo a battle and re-attack it from a different timeline.
Yeah.
But how does that work for the enemy?
Well,
It
For the other
because
players?
because I can jump around. Obviously, what I'm doing is all recorded. So I jump in the future. Shalkka won't see that till he's caught up.
So was that blue swipe to tell you there was like a snapshot taken or something?
I don't know.
That gets into the kind of ontology. The blue things that move on the timeline, that thing is called the timeline. And the things that move, those are called time waves.
I'm going time surfing. So why would I not run fast forward? What? I'm now in the future. I've now moved ahead of you. So you're the red line, I assume?
Yeah. It's a good basic strategy to be in fast forward if you have no reason to do other stuff.
Uh-huh. And how would I... Ooh. Whoops. Just use up... How do I get more chrono energy then? Oh, the importers.
You can regenerate it constantly. If you are in the future, you don't have to spend chrono energy. If you want to mess with the past, you have to spend chrono energy to be able to give an order. If you go too deep into the past, you have to use all up your chrono energy to give a single command. That's the point, which is the edge of the affectable past. The timeline has a grayed out bit designating that you can't give direct commands here at all.
I was with you all the way up to simply there.
Right, and I went ahead.
I'm winning! I'm in the future!
Yeah, the victory condition is that you have to kill the enemy.
Can I go back in time
All
and
the
kill
way.
you before you were born?
Well, my units, yeah.
No, but like, can I kill your grandfather?
No.
I bet you I can. Can I go into the
There-
future and then build like a gun turret which will suddenly just appear on your screen? Like, can I build where you can't see? I've just realised why I can't build
I don't
anything
see
to-
everywhere we have fog of war.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the point. Could you build in the future a gun, and by pure coincidence or happenstance, Shalkka build something there before you build the gun, so then the gun can't exist?
He could go back
Yeah.
into the past and build something over where I built something, I guess.
Yeah, and the builder will say, can't build something in the way.
Well, no, because I would build something before you did. Surely I get first dibs on that.
Well, okay. Time in this game is two-dimensional. When you said that
Two-directional.
in the scenario you described, you are building stuff in the future, but you
Uh-huh.
are doing it first as the player. There's two different senses in that. There's the game time, which refers to the timeline, and then there's real time or meta time, which refers to like player time.
So, just to reiterate, I was with you all the way up to simply. Oh.
I'll try not to talk too much about them because part of the fun, or kind of what I was hoping, that if we get two new players, they can like learn together, and the simple stuff is like naturally discovered.
Are you learning
Or-
anything, Max? Good. I'm not.
No.
Excellent.
And one of the dangers is that if it's too confusing to play, if you have no idea what's happening.
But can't you jump back in time and kill something and then suddenly my units just disappear as far as I'm concerned? Because I'm in the future to you.
Yes,
But it's-
that's a thing that can happen. Yes.
Oh, and I can't area... Oh, I can. It's just a bit ropey. Also, it said deploying mech, and I'm pretty sure that's a plane. So I can't... Oh, okay. I can, but apparently I couldn't. Wow, the movement is awful, isn't it? Like the mobs very obviously just going like, I'm doing this. They're not nicely smoothed.
Space is very discreet in this game. Yes. And the speed controls, I think you figured out. You can pause, you can go slow-mo or fast forward. And then you can jump on the timeline to some time. And on the timeline, there are like red markers indicating units taking damage.
So did you just go back in time and build something where I already was? Oh no, 'cause I'm in the future.
Yeah. So if I do something and a time wave carries those effects into you, then you get to see them.
Ah, so it's not instantaneous. It's like Back to the
Yeah.
Future, where it takes a long time to sort of go through.
Yeah, and that's one of the concepts that really trips up new players. That updating is not instant.
I wish I could see a time wave coming, or is that sort of slightly darker blue?
The time waves are displayed on the timeline. And the players act as time waves also.
I'm a time wave. Okay. Heavy vehicles, marines. See, I very much liked Subcom and TA's approach. You have vehicle buildings, you have plane buildings, you have ground buildings. It's very obvious what comes out of what. Even if you've never played before, you have no clue what anything is. But this is saying stuff like enables two Marses to merge, and I'm like, I don't know what that. I have no idea at all. Whereas saying to me, this ground thing makes ground vehicles. I get that. I'm good at that. So I've just built a thing that says I can now build heavy units, and I'm like, comm center, armory, medium building, factory. That's a factory. And then I have a little dialogue box here with some carbon fiber in it and some buttons that don't do anything.
You're trying to figure out the factory, or?
Not enough resources. Okay, what are these resourcey things? Resource processors. Where do I make resource processors?
Marines make resource processors.
Oh.
The small dudes.
Do they?
Yeah.
Ah. I also would give this game 0 out of 10 for the concept of just collects resources. Like, even Warcraft, original Warcraft, had the units go out, come back, and come in. Right, so you're attacking me. Can I just jump back in time and go, no, you fucking don't?
How is that good in that the resources move?
Well, because right now, I can't tell if the resource is doing it. He just walks up something and just sits there and does it. How do I go back in time?
Isn't it the same way that in Total Annihilation the metal extractors just spin and don't like ferry the resources anywhere?
Yep, and I would say that is poor.
But at least you have to place them strategically. You have to place them on a metal scratch.
Yes, I guess
You
that is
can't
that.
just go, I'm going to put one down wherever it suits me. You have to put it onto the resource, and that's the one of the things. You know, I want a bit more. Oh, it's right in front of the enemy's base. Okay, let's not do that.
I have undone that attack. So if a time wave comes, those might disappear.
So when the time wave comes, does it undo the healing? What's that? That's a resource process. Sorry, will they untake the damage?
Yeah. Things are according to the new way things happen.
Okay, so I need to build. What is that? That's a resource processor.
And because it's not fudged but really simulated, you can be sure that it's like accurate. Because in this game, time travel is a mechanic a free-form time travel thing. Not scripted by story or anything like that. It's a mechanic.
Place near resource crates. The other thing about having the units actually go there and grab Bruce and come back is then they become something vulnerable you can intercept. And defeating supply lines is, it should be very, very important. Alright, so that thing that looks like a tank is actually a building. Or am I building the wrong thing? Yeah, so a resource processor is a little building on treads that can move.
It can move. The distinction between building and unit is there a little hazy.
You're a mech? What are you?
Be sure to build an armory that you can make the little dudes.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm on as usual.
Good.
Morbit says, does each time travel cost 1.21 gigawatts?
No, it costs some orders. So should I jump forward to the...
It does cost dread, and that can be debated whether that's bad or not.
Why are
But
you so
moving a
far in
unit-
the... Why are you so far in the past?
No, I just was.
Strategically speaking.
It's a very strange conversation.
I'm not being super strategic right now.
Okay, but why would you be in the past?
I can do something and then wipe out the current state. Have some big effect. And it's more locked in the past. If something happens in the future, then there's multiple chances for things to happen in a different way. If something happens in the deep past, it's more likely to lock in that way.
Yeah. The thing is, well, a lot of games, and this one very much does seem to be suffering from this, is you want the games to be very understandable. You want to easily understand what's going on at any point. Simple to understand, hard to master is the... Yeah, like that. I just gave an order, nothing happened. There we go. I did click several times, apparently.
I did see on the Wikipedia page the reviews on this where apparently some people thought it was amazing because it's got a really good idea, and other people thought it was awful because it was bloody confusing.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling it's probably both.
Yeah.
If I could convince it to connect instead of crashing, then I'd even find out for myself.
You need to run the patch.
Oh, you mean Steam doesn't patch it for me?
No, there's a patch that
No,
makes it
because
work.
it's unofficial.
Oh.
The official matchmaking server has not worked. Maybe because of lack of users.
It was 2011, wasn't it?
2001.
No.
Yes, it was 2001 when it was first released, apparently.
Bloody hell. No one thought about mentioning the patch in Discord, or
Yes,
are
it's
you
pinned.
into that?
Yesterday
there it is.
I linked it.
Yep, I find it.
What, in the pins?
I found the pin, yes.
Well then,
And now I'm doing it.
awesome. So, how come that your tank completely destroyed all my vehicles and my tank?
You can go watch it.
That doesn't answer the question, which apparently is some...
Yeah, it has a lot of range.
right, but I had one of those tanks.
If you have the bigger factory, you can make one.
Have I not got one? Oh, you see, this is shit. I've got a tank AB400 and you've got a MAR. Again, total annihilation. Small tank, medium tank, heavy tank, super tank, red alert, mammoth tanks. Much clearer.
Yeah.
Never, you don't want any... Dawn of War suffers from this. You're like, I'm not sure who comes up. Key bats, I'm blue and Shalkka is red. This is the present, this is the past, and that is when the last time wave came, and then I can see another time wave coming, and...
And you get to the end and you have an aneurysm.
something like that. Yeah, if you guys let me know, let me know when you're in, and then we will start up another game. And let me know when it's working for you.
You can switch on the coloration of the time waves if it's not so confusing if you want to identify.
No, it's nice to know when a time wave is coming. Or has gone.
What's a time wave then for those of us who haven't been paying attention?
When it synchronizes.
Synchronizes the part of the present.
Yeah.
When things happen in a different way, that brings like the update or the new version of events.
So how do I
So
build?
it's like in a movie when somebody fades out of existence because the past has changed.
How do I build a turret then?
The mechs build turrets. You
What?
might want to need machinery research from the armory.
So let me get this right. The builder units are the Marines and the mechs.
Yes, and that's kind of questionable.
Yeah. Why not have an engineer and a heavy engineer?
What's the difference between a soldier and an engineer?
One of them doesn't carry a gun and kill people and builds things instead.
Yeah. Like Quantum League has the danger that it's just a crappy shooter with a gimmick.
This is telling me
The basic RTS elements of this game are pretty questionable and kind of weak when like compared directly.
yeah, it's telling me I'm about to be defeated in the future. I quite like that. You're going to lose. Oh. Right. Because again, TA, SOTCOM let you start off with very, very heavy defenses. There's no real concept of rushing. If you try to rush, you will get demolished by turrets that were much, much more powerful than you. So your first step was always hunker down. Later units would overwhelm them. And this, I'm just sort of I'm trying to find it. I mean, I don't know what. I've got a comm center which has got auto hierarchy. Sure, all right.
Yeah, got the hierarchy is like a different thing here. You can if you click, just right click on your own unit.
Yes,
with your unit.
Yeah, and I get it. I've just moved a hover tank, and my fucking builder units decide they're going to go and follow. That's awful.
Because of the hierarchy.
Yeah, but I don't want my builder units in the hierarchy. I want them to build.
I'll make them in an independent hierarchy. You can remove the leader, for example, to have the builders in their own builder hierarchy.
There's a button here, and it's marked automatic hierarchy. It's not very smart.
Yes, it's not.
So automatic television.
So, I don't know. Key bounce. I'm fresh to this game. RTS games, no problem. I understand RTS games. Each one's a little different, but overall, pretty much the same. I mean, I built 2 importers. I don't know if that actually achieves anything.
You get more dudes.
Aha.
The green resource.
So, the storage silos also increase your unit cap.
It's not exactly in unit cap. You can only store 3 dudes in a importer. You have infinite tank of the blue and red resources, and the other species don't have the dudes as a resource.
Oh, that's cool. I just made my... Oh, it's just flying. Are you guys in? Are we ready to have another go?
I'm just doing the tutorial, but indeed.
He's just gaining pre-knowledge. It's not learning with us.
I've already lost key bounce, like, in the future.
I think you are back into the game.
Yes!
And that's like a relative term. Because if you have all units dead in the future, you can do something in the present or the past to like recover from that. So it like doesn't actually lose you the game. You actually lose only when you are dead in the deep past. Although I think this game relies on the player surrendering when it's hopeless. In the beginning it was so that if you were dead at any time you would lose. But then it was deemed not fun to lose in the far future in a surprise attack. I guess we had a discussion.
Ah, yeah, because someone could go forwards and then kill you. I'm trying to work out how that would work. Like, because if you fired a bomber over and the bomber dropped bombs somewhere, and then I saw you do that, and then went back in time and put that building somewhere else, with the bomber, it would still fly over and drop bombs where it wasn't.
It depends on how the bomb was aimed. If it was aimed at the ground position, then it would miss. But if it was an attack move, the unit would seek out the nearest target, which could be the new building position, or it could be a useless ground unit.
Right. Well, yeah, Max, are you in? You've got it working?
Negative.
Alright. What's the wibbly wobbly thing around my comm center?
I think it might be some timey-wimey stuff.
Go back.
They spelt hierarchy wrong as well, which is quite impressive. But not everywhere. In some places they have, in some places they haven't.
It's supposed to be some kind of radar. And this is like the basic level. And then there's the chronoportation tech, which is a whole nother bag of things.
But yeah, I see. I mean, so I can't repeat. I can't just say churn out blah blah blahs forever.
Well, you can go into the future and...
No. I'm talking about the UI. It doesn't say create 5. And then I've got...
Yeah.
Oh, then I just
and
count...
that has the issue that you have to pay like chrono energy for each build order. So having one order to order 5 units would be 5 times cheaper in chrono energy.
Oh, and I'm running out of boxes. Oh, right. So the boxes are literally temporary boxes.
Or finite. They
Well,
don't like suicide.
well, yeah, but I mean, I still think June was one of the best things with the big fields of spice, which you then moved along doing, which was ever so cool.
What's the cool thing about it?
It's moving. It's a non-static resource with a front wave that moves away from you. So you can start harvesting next to your base and it goes slower and slower and slower. And that was really
Right.
cool.
The way the resources work here allows, like the big carrier units, they can like actually move the boxes around. So if you want to be really sneaky, or cheeky I guess, you can like go grab the boxes from your opponent's side and bring them home to be processed.
Gotcha. Oh god, the basic movements. Oh, I just told my units to go somewhere. The main unit went, and then all the other units just got in his way, and then it just stopped.
Yeah, the pathfinding strength is not much.
Yeah, but you can't
It's
do.
partly because it needs to do it so much.
You can't. It's not difficult to route find. It just went, nope, and then just stopped.
Well, in the approximation, you can think of each time wave as a separate simulation. I don't know what the technical details are. I think they are very stingy on how many bits the units can use, and it's like chipping and unchipping the whole thing constantly or something, and that like puts some technical limits.
Yeah.
And I guess they use the old CPUs, and if you would do this game again today, you would like make it more smooth.
Yeah, but don't forget, I used to write route finding stuff for fun in the 90s on 486s. I don't have any time for computers aren't fast enough. Just no.
This is running 3D graphics and
It's
Command
still
and Conquer June
2-dimensional.
2000.
It's still 2-dimensional route finding though.
The graphics are not the issue.
It's built for an era when there were 3D graphics, and you could do the same with 2D graphics or 2.5D
Yeah.
stuff. You know, of that the previous era. So
I'm not really sure why I can only give you orders to some units. Is that why I've got the command unit? So I just order him
You are running out of chrono energy.
because I'm in the past.
Yes.
Aha. Nice, I don't get it.
which is your chrono energy? I'm looking on Adam's screen. Does that
Where it says
matter?
orders
You're-
available.
You have a flat income of chrono energy. You wait for it to refill.
Oh, orders available 23, 24. Okay, fine.
Why? I told this guy to build something. Oh, right, it just builds automatically once he's left. Okay.
We shall have more defenders for this macrofab.
Ah, so sending orders back to the part. See, now this guy's just going off in the wrong direction. What is going on?
Sending orders where?
To the past costs. Now I have unlimited orders because I'm not in the past. I mean, I assume that's why.
Yeah. Future is free.
So I could just leave them a sticky note, like just on the back of something, just say, go and shoot this. But you're in the past, so what happens if you kill one of my units? Does suddenly this unit disappear from my timeline?
Let's get killed when it's get killed. Yeah.
So suddenly I'll just see all my units disappear because you sneaked in and killed them.
If you don't go see, then you kind of extend the time where might surprise you. Let's actually defend this a bit more.
Yeah, so now I need to jump back to see what you, because suddenly all my units are gone.
There is a bit of an issue that you want to be the one that gets the last say.
But hold on, so what about all the... Oh, I guess I haven't used the resources for that yet. Okay. Can I make the time waves visible on the top? Well, yeah, that's what this blue glow is. So you can see there was the last time wave, and then you can see this one's it's coming up. So you'll see the time wave come in from the left-hand side, where my mouse cursor is. Do I have less maximum orders the further back in time I am then?
You use up more chrono energy the deeper you are. Yes, effectively.
That's what she said.
Keybounce is saying you can't see the time waves visible on the timeline, but you can't see them on stream.
Well, it's this blue glow here. You see it's dark here, and then it gets more blue. So I assume it will go dark, and then that will catch up.
It moves, it doesn't change brightness. There's a setting to have them color different colors. Now they are blue for you, but I have blue, red, and green one.
Note the dash. No, I don't note the dash lines, but I cannot issue energy. What? Issue.
About 30, the half an hour mark is going to the part where no player has ability to issue commands. That part is called the unplayable past. You can still view it and it still simulates it, but it's some sense not really in play anymore.
Okay, I'm getting quite annoyed, but giving units orders, and they go, yeah, no. They start to move, and then just use up the orders, and they just go, no, I'm not doing that. Oh, hold on. I think it might be because I pressed E, which might be cancel. No?
Also, you might be experiencing the issue that the first time around you gave some orders. Now you are back into that time and you are giving new orders. But they are also receiving the old orders.
How do I change? I cannot change controls in game, for fuck's sake. I think what's happened is I've accidentally bound cancel orders to A, W, S.
Z.
So it's the S.
Yes, if you didn't stop, yeah, if you're using WAS, then you still have stop as S.
Oh, well, apparently so. Yeah, so I've been pissing orders up the wall constantly. I've also lost patience with any RTS game where one unit will stand there 4 feet from his mate, watching him get destroyed, going, "Yeah, I'm not helping. No, I'm not close enough. Not doing it." Like,
There's smart idle enable. You can the comm center
yeah,
where
that's
the auto hierarchy was, and you have it on.
Yep. Yeah, but that should be that sort of thing should just be standard now. The idea of units being, I hate the StarCraft style super micromanagement stuff. Now, where's this guy going now? Nowhere, apparently. And then all his mates are following him. Oh. So, yeah. Wait, I had a mech and it disappeared, so I assumed you blew it up and then it didn't disappear, so now I wonder if it was just a bug. Now I'm not pressing S, I'm not running out of orders quite so much.
Well done.
Thank you.
There's the undo command if you want to erase an order that you have given. One standard way is to, if you want to select a unit and clear all orders, you can double hit undo, so it forgets all orders that were given previously in meta time to the future in game time from this moment. And that was way too complicated a thing
I
to
was
understand in one go.
with you all the way up to simply. Yeah, I think I would probably put it in the same category as Planetary Annihilation. Nice idea, bit clunky. And, you know, in this particular game, apparently we've forgotten what artillery is. Attack down unit? Nanites, question mark? Maybe.
Oh, I got some tornades.
I'm sorry to hear that. They've got creams for this sort of things, don't worry about it.
That's a plane.
Not a tornado, a tornado.
The main deviation here is that things are effective like against ground or air. It's quite questionable on what the rock paper scissors damage type should be. Can feel a bit clunky.
So I'm in the past. So yeah, you want to try and stay in. So you want to balance being in the past, because then if I kill something, you're like, oh shit, I didn't even realize he was there, and balance that up against the fact that you can't issue orders quite as much as you want.
Yeah.
Somehow I managed to fail the tutorial.
This isn't SnowRunner.
With the humans, if you're trying to use army that is made of the small guys, it's very resource efficient, but you end up spending a lot of orders. So you end up needing to play very near the present or in the future.
Like orcs.
I don't really get the analogy, but sure.
Really, in orcs you just need a shit ton of units because they're crap. Why are all my tanks up there? What are you doing? Come and join in the fight. Well, such as it is. I feel the screen should sort of shake and rumble when there's a time wave approaching. It should go... Rather than just going, swoosh, all your units are gone. Oh.
Maybe. But then it's a thing that constantly happens.
But it's an important thing, so that's okay. Yeah, we'll rebind S.
Attack is also A. I don't know if you have bound that.
I think I bound that. See, I think this would have been better if the RTS element was stripped right back. Like, one unit, one resource, one builder, and it's all about manoeuvring your leapfrogs backwards through time.
Yeah, it could like benefit from having it simple.
Yeah, because right now we've got a very clunky RTS game.
But then there would be that if those who play proper RTSs like Supreme Commander or Total Annihilation, they're just going, oh, a kiddie game, it's so simple. They don't see why they would have to get into it. So there's a temptation to be comparable in the traditional RTS sense, and then have the time stuff in addition to that.
Yeah, but when you can't do the RTS stuff, you probably don't want to do things. It looks like my attack orders are not going... I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, I'm giving the units orders and nothing happens, and that's a bug. Or poor interface. If the game is trying to tell me in some way I am unable to order them, it should probably be telling me rather than going oh with the music.
There is the red flashing. I don't know if you're seeing it.
I'm sure there is some red. If there's red flashing, I'm not noticing it. That's bad. That's. Can I repair? Did these things repair?
Yeah. There are repair units. Humans have the Blackbird, which is a plane, and there's the mobile field base, which is made from the big factory.
But you said it looks like your attack orders are not going to the units in the back. How? What? I mean, I don't know why we've got a blue line and a I don't know, fucking beige line going on here and all that's about.
Yeah, there's the red insufficient chrono energy in the chrono energy bar. I don't know if you have noticed it.
But there's a big bar and it's got blue and yellow. Meaning...
Yeah, that is the flashing not enough energy. Now that it doesn't flash.
No, half it's blue, half it's yellow. What's that about?
That shows how much giving a command would use it.
How much? I see. Why is this guy down here? Look, he's even got a thing saying follow this guy, and he's fucked off half the map in the wrong direction. Yeah, because obviously if I'm in the past, I can then affect stuff because Shalkka can't react. That makes sense. That's the penalty. When the time wibbly-wobbly happens, I would much rather you saw it was slower and you saw a more direct effect as what happened. Like the unit disappeared rather than going, oh, it's happened and I wasn't paying attention.
Well, if you can actively hop on the timeline, you can like actively seek it. It might be on the phase where you are surprised by the time
when
waves.
the time wave happens, right, and I'm looking at the left-hand side of the screen at 3 units, and there's 3 units on the right. Now there are a different number of units on the right. How would I know what there was? The game should go, yeah, it should do the whomp. It should have some sort of obvious visual effect to say, oh, you've lost some units, or whatever's happened. But it doesn't. It doesn't show me. All that happens is something disappears. And if I'm not looking at that part of the screen, I don't know it's happened.
I have a little hard time getting on board. Why would you care about what was the case? Because that's lost now.
How do I know there was anything lost? How many units... Close your eyes. How many units have you got on screen right now? You don't know. Half of them just disappeared. Which ones disappeared? You don't know. That's poor. That's lacking information to the player. I can't possibly just sit there and write them all down. So you've got this very important mechanic, and I don't have the information to determine what happened and make a decision, which I should do.
Yeah, I kind of can like anticipate what they would say as developers, because the 2 time waves sweeping past each other is like intensive. So having additional effects would be tricky in that sense. But I guess it would be really needed also.
Sorry, if your argument for developers, I can't do a particle effect because it's too much effort. I question that maybe you should spend some time on your particle engine.
But you would have to calculate what's the difference of the world states.
No,
not
because
just update to the new world state.
Yeah, but
because part of the new world state might be similar to the old state, and you don't want to create the particle effect to the bit that has stayed the same.
That's what you're changing, because you've got to go and find all these units and delete them from the current state.
Yeah. The game physically deletes the units as the time wave happens. On delete,
I think it's just part of the separate simulation. It doesn't like make a diff. It just choose 2 different states.
I know.
Some kind of magic is happening under the hood. I'm not really sure.
Either way, at some point, it stops drawing a tank on my screen. At that point, display me a little particle effect saying this tank got shimmered out of existence. That's not very hard.
I mean, it is saving up these changes until the time wave happens, right?
No.
So you make a change, then you go back into the present, and those changes are persisted somewhere until the time wave comes, and then it makes those changes apparent. At that point, don't just go and delete things. Sticks and sparkles too.
Now, I'm only asking for sparkles.
Whole sci-fi shimmery thing, like this thing is shimmering out, and it has, like, you know, when you have whoever it was fading out of existence in Back to the Future.
Exactly. This game, they needed to watch Back to the Future more, because that's how time travel works. So
I would use it as a reverse, as in you can critique Back to the Future being inconsistent. Achron is a game, it has mechanics, it has to be consistent. But the movies can be approximate about it.
If time changes, I mean, at the very least, you get a little pop as all the air rushed to fill in the thing that no longer exists as the time wave came over.
That's not how the universe works here.
Right, but as a game, from a game, because this is a computer game, it needs to give me information. And that's really important. So someone's saying, the timeline does show flashing red. What does that mean? What am I supposed to? I have little bits here that are flashing red under attack, but
that's damage that you have not seen.
Damage I've not seen. That's quite cool.
Yeah.
Although,
I guess that's partly the thing. If there's like a change and new damage happens, that damage is going to flash until you go see it. So
Okay.
that's kind of like the particle effect, but it's only applied on there, which is very limited.
key bounce. Here's how it works as a computer programmer, as a games programmer. I need to tell the player that something has changed. The player needs to know some information. The way it works in this game, I have just decided, as the developer of this game, is when units disappear, there's a pop as the air rushes in. You get a little graphic effect. I have decided that because I need some way to indicate back to the player something is happening. Done. That's what happens. As the developer, you decide what is reality under whatever circumstance. That's too far back, and I'm struggling at the minute. Like, Shalkka and I are continually running in the past. I don't know why. In my case, just because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm also assuming that's the edge of the map.
But time travel doesn't work like in Looper. That was very inconsistent. The chat might be talking about, like...
In your game, you can do whatever you like. You can make whatever rule you like. If you have to have a reason. You could say there's like a digistruct effect because the time waves are colliding, and that's what time looks like. It's time energy. Doctor Who makes this up on a weekly basis.
Yeah, but like if you don't understand the artistic direction this game is taking,
no,
just criticizing that it's not taking the artistic direction that would be intuitive to you.
I'm criticizing it's not giving me information, and I'm suggesting ways it could give me the information. No, key bounce, you see? You said the current game uses flashes on the timeline. Shalkka has said a flash on the timeline means I didn't see it. Here is my screen. I am looking here. Something happens on this side of the screen. The game thinks I've seen it, but I wasn't looking there. Is that not clear?
Yeah, it's temporally, not spatially. You described on what is shown on the screen, and you could be looking at a bit that's spatially away.
Or I'm scrolling down, or whatever. I mean, I'd have it probably. So when a unit got erased from existence, it has a little sort of sparkly shimmer for 10 seconds. I'm like, oh shit, my whole army's gone. Rather than me scrolling back going, did I have some units here? I don't remember. I might have, I might not. It's information back to the player in a preferably a visually appealing way is really important. And now I guess I have to move my resource units around. Because I like the way in Warcraft, when they run out of resources, they just buggered off to new ones. So after a while, your builders would just run into the middle of the enemy base going, oh no, we're under attack. I'm like, why are you in the middle of the enemy base?
Have the authors given up making it work? Or are we close?
I don't know. It's been nearly an hour.
It's working for me.
I think I'm ready to quit this game. To set up a new one.
I'm pretty sure I've won. Or there's more map I haven't found.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I'm in the past. That's why I keep running out.
This players who jump around. Really, Shadow? I didn't feel that. The game's telling me off for jumping around too much. I didn't feel like I could zip round in time as much as I wanted. I'd also feel the moment I queued up some units to be built, jumping backwards in time means I'm quite likely... So, do those orders persist?
The build orders or what orders?
So if I say build something, and then I jump backwards in time, that order will still happen at that point.
Yeah, orders that you give.
Okay, so what happens if what happens? Oh, it will try to be carried out. Okay, gotcha. Oh, hold on.
If you run out of things and you can't make it, it will make an error message. Can't afford.
No, it's more like what was happening if oh, global commands. Right, stop. M. A is attack. No, N. Unclear. I'm not going to be using any of these. I forgot what we were saying. I got distracted by that. I didn't set my keys up. House game. Right.
Yeah, the orders are given. If you first time around afford the unit, it is get created. If you later versions run out of money, then it can't be afforded, and it will just say an error message. Can't afford.
I've just started the game without anybody else in it. Okay. What I meant was, what happens if I create a unit now, and then I jump back 59 seconds, and I create a unit that takes 1 minute to do?
It will queue up the unit if you can afford it at the time that the new build order
Does that
is
mean
given.
that the tank in the future no longer exists because it couldn't have been built at that time?
It will start to exist when the previous unit is still being built, and when the previous unit has exited, it will start the build process on the new unit, which will mean it will exit the factory a little bit later, which can make it late to arrive at the battlefield and such.
What happens about the orders I gave to that unit in the future?
It will try to carry them out because it's out of position. It might not be very adaptive to the situation. But you can also like deliberately give some margin to your orders, so things happen a little bit differently. It will get back on track.
This is where having much smarter units that I'm more influencing than controlling would work, because then I'm controlling the flow of the battle. I've got to turn some things on. Turn chron reporters on. Morph during chron report.
Kind of the point of the game, that they're naive and that your effects can fuck things up. I mean, it doesn't make it harder, but...
Yeah, so this is where X-Wing and the X-Wing series games were perfect, because the game was perfectly balanced. If you did nothing, you just about lost, and you were the pinch in the hourglass. You were a small difference to a massive battle. You were pretty much, an irrelevant nothing, really. And that worked really, really well, because you didn't feel like this super overpowered silliness. You were just one fighter pilot. You were the important one. Start game isn't doing anything yet.
We are 3 players ready.
Max has disappeared as far as I can tell.
I'm now ready.
I'm trying to ask whether he wants to go in or what's the status, but unknown at the time. Getting frustrated on getting the thing to technically work would not be out of place.
Waiting for others to load the level. Good grief, guys, sort it out.
The match begins with the race picker, and someone would ask why this has this unit. But the reason is that you can undo your race selection.
If you really want to lose, you can just start all over again.
What? What is going on? What's the thing?
What thing? The race selector?
Oh,
The triangle thing?
I understand now. This is going to go badly. Random. I've got red blobs.
Oh, careful. Why is it called an importer? Why not a barracks? Was this not an English game?
It's not grown on site. Lore-wise, it's teleported from a far-off cruiser, from a long-distance teleporter. That's the reason. It might not be a good reason. This is partly also a narrative game, so the universe and such, it can benefit from having the importer be that way.
Yeah, I mean, this is again something I think Planetary Annihilation did very badly at, is as a player, it's certainly not so much now, but if you go back a few years, as a player of RTS games, I have a lot of choice. You need to get me in quickly, get me enjoying it, not get me frustrated or confused. Then you start to, confuse me and make things more complicated as we go on. And I wasn't aware at all. Like, I've just played an entire game. I wasn't aware that an importer just continually makes units. So blokes turn up and then they go into vehicles. That does make sense. An importer is a supply. No, an importer just makes people.
It imports people.
Yes, but it makes people.
In order to have them walking, you have to have an armory.
I've got a Seppi. What's a Seppi supposed to be?
You chose the aliens. There's 3 genders of that kind of alien. You build units by sitting in a ring and having fun times
Are they
to make the missing gender.
Are they male, female, and attack helicopter? I hope.
as that's 3 genders, it doesn't map into male and female.
But the third one is attack helicopter. Yes.
The remaining ones are not male and female.
I don't know what CESO is.
It's the Human Central Earth Security Organization.
Oh, right, okay. Sorry, I was like, I was trying to think what game that was. But yeah, it makes you... that's quite cool. I mean, I wouldn't have done that. I'd have probably called this like a cloning vat or something. So you're just making human clones, and then every so often you can just stick one in a tank. That's quite a cool idea.
My Pharaoh is progenerating.
Oh.
Apparently that's
Sometimes.
something that has some... in the world is going on.
Shadow Fury, speaking as a game developer of some experience and time, this game was limited by CPU time. No, it fucking wasn't. Subcom was limited by the fact they didn't know how to write a multi-threaded game. Let's have a look. So right now, this game is using up 2% of my CPU time. So that's not even hammering a whole thread.
That's not because we don't have the thousand of time waves. Because of the CPU limitations, we are having very unfrequent time waves, and they're moving very slowly.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, I would bet pennies to pounds this game has poor multi-threading. PC games did not get good multi-threading until consoles came along and went, stop writing stuff that's so massively outdated. Subcom was extremely bad at this. Really, really, really bad. The game had thousands of units and then jammed everything, including rendering, onto one core. And there's a core optimizer for Subcom, and it just changes what core the game runs on constantly. And people go, oh, it makes it run a lot better. I'm like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, but a low-end CPU in 2010 was still multi-threaded. I mean, what was that? What was a good Intel 2010 CPUs? I can't even remember what that was.
If you have this one
Sandy
trick
Bridge.
that gives me 8 times the time waves, I would be very happy.
What is a spire?
A tall, spiky thing.
Building, it allows you to make air units.
Right. So 2010 was, at high end, was 6 cores, 12 threads.
You need to place it near the happy fun times.
And no. So proper multi-threading in console gaming was a thing many, many, many years before. Every single console game I ever shipped had very heavy multi-threading. So Burnout ran on 2 threads all the time. One for the game and one for the rendering. And then it just kept the 2 threads in sync. PC programmers were very poor. That's what really happened. And where's the upgrade building? Is it that one? Yes. Because they could just say, I'll get a faster PC. It was only when Moore's Law stopped helping us and we got slower computers, relatively speaking, that suddenly we needed to. No, I'm telling you, I guarantee it, this game is not very well threaded. I mean, I can just see that from just how little CPU it's using. That's what I mean. It's saying it's CPU limited to me just says wasn't written with proper threads in mind. And that is a failing of many PC games. I mean, you still get it, but you don't tend to get it in PC games that are destined for console or from consoles. Uh-oh, hold on. My 3D printer's just made a horrible noise. Please be okay. Yeah, we're at the scary part now. This is the bit where the maximum Sorry, I'm trying to print something. I designed it earlier, and the maximum overhang at this point should be fine. I'm just not going to think about it. But yeah, PC games not having good multi-threaded performance has been a horrible, horrible, horrible issue for a great many years. It's got better, though people have done analysis on Cyberpunk going, this game is basically single-threaded That's why it runs so badly. I've got sound effects going, but I don't know what they mean. Awesome. Okay, so now I can do... So when I go back in time, do I go back in time to the resources I had then?
Yes, you use
Yeah.
the time of native resources.
Yeah, don't forget, 4-core CPU is an 8-thread CPU, but that was basically minimum spec. Xbox, what CPU's in the Xbox? Pentium something like 733? Oh wow, Pentium 3.
There are 8 threads. 2 of them are OpenGL. 2 of them are Discord hooking into it, and 2 of them are 3 of them are NVIDIA's OpenGL implementation, and 1 of them is Achron itself. So there you have it.
Doesn't surprise me. I want to be wrong. The best things about games that were heavily threaded is they have they've lasted well. Oh, I meant to click on that one.
Is someone picking on me?
The dev said that they were worried about whether it would be theoretically possible, and the limitation would be computation. It would be tragic that if it was just a lack of programming skill.
Right, but
I wouldn't be surprised.
This game is what year? Sorry. Oh, I've lost. So what year?
I've lost in the future. That's interesting.
What year is this game? Sorry. 2010. Did we say it stopped being developed? Was it anyone? I'm gonna have to. Achron. 2011. Yeah. See, that's modern.
There's only one R in it. Chronal is timely, and you negate it with only one A. Achron.
Achron. Yeah, I'm sorry, I won't accept that. 2010. So in 2010. I was at Code. No, was I at Cody's? I had left Cody's by that point. We were running the AI on the GPU in 2000. You could do pathfinding on the GPU in 2010 easily. It's, again, whether the developers knew about it, the developers had the skill to, those are different questions. But the tech was definitely there to support that. But, I mean, we were running stuff on the GPU in 2000? Yeah, 2000, which we would have been 2000. So we ran the AI on the GPU. Because then we could run all the motorbikes in the game simultaneously. So it can definitely be done. And I mean, I was doing pathfinding in... Freaking hell, Rob. When did we do that Red Alert clone for Projector Games? I think my first A-star Pathfinder was in 1991 on a 486.
I'm going to say that wasn't one that we did together.
No. You know the one I mean. I've got a picture of it somewhere.
It's a June one. Alert.
Hold on. Here are the little units that killed me, I guess. Octo. What was that other game we played that was really bad? The really bad... you made us play it. What was
Quantum
it?
League?
No. That Quantum League was awesome. No, the other RTS game.
I dealt some damage, but it was in the present when I wasn't in the present, so that's confusing.
Other RTS game.
We played another RTS game and it was just really disappointing.
In what way?
I can't remember. Underwhelming? There was definitely one we played and it was... I'll say rubbish, but I can't remember what was wrong with it. I remember we played and it's better than that. But yeah, there's no confirmation from units. There's nothing. Like when I click a unit, I just want to whoop, 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 something. Ah, there we go.
Oh,
There you go.
I didn't watch that much. That was just a random thing. It
There you go.
was like Singularity or something.
That is a threaded route finding system, and the screenshot is from September 2011, which is actually probably when I copied it onto my my NAS. That's probably when I got my NAS.
We wrote some of that at the big game, didn't we?
Yeah, 1 year.
1 year.
1 year. But yeah, this is what I mean. I have done this. It's always fascinating to see other developers how they've gone about stuff. Sometimes badly, sometimes well. It varies. See, I think what needs to happen is when a time wave happens, it shouldn't just go click. You should see something, and you get to feel the effect of the time wave. Like, it'd be so cool if you had a unit going somewhere, and then that unit just sort of disappeared. Like into like digital particles. You see all the particles whoosh off. Like presentation goes a long way. People say that graphics don't matter, but it's not true. Graphics matter a lot. Now, how do I build these thingies? It also doesn't help. I'm sitting here squinting. Shadow Fury. In 2010, I was working for Codemasters doing engine simulations. I think. I need to check. No, 2010. I might have been at Sumo by 2010.
No.
No. Well, that was 11 years ago. So I joined Codemasters in 2006. Oh, not an importer. A resource processor.
What's that website that people do for It's like a LinkedIn website.
Moby Games.
But it's contributed by other people.
Moby Games.
What?
Moby Games.
Alright.
Yeah, I should look at my Moby Games page, which is so wrong. F1 2010 is what I worked on in 2010. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Hey, I'm in Beyond the Steel Sky. Haha. I have my credits updated on Moby Games for the first time in 10 years or something. I've never bothered. It doesn't, yeah, a bark of some sort, just a blip, blue. Like, if I give an invalid order, it used to go, boom, something. In fact, I'm just going to turn the music off. Is
it gives text errors for some orders. And there's a small graphical thing on where you give the order. Do you have objective lines on? I guess the game is also flopping if it doesn't. I think you have objective lines.
I know objective lines. It has an arrow showing me where they're trying to get to. Yeah, I like...
That's the objective line for move command.
I like the ref maps. The normal maps are a bit arse. Like here. I just told all 3 units to go to there. One of them went, 2 of them decided they're not going down the hill.
Guys, I'm going to knock off tonight.
Alright. Oh, I think...
I'm in some discomfort, so...
Alright. Well, we'll see you tomorrow for Plants vs. Zombies.
Okay, you'll have to remind me to find that.
Well, it's 80 pence.
Right. Okay.
Alright, see you tomorrow.
Night, guys. Bye.
Later.
Yeah, I mean, visually, it's not too bad. It doesn't have much style to it. It's kind of, there was a lot of games for a while that were just very much by the numbers rather than having any sort of I've got some sound effects happening, but yeah, I mean, that looks to me like they didn't really know what a normal map was, and they just put some grunt on there, some grunge. But the reflection map's quite nice. I'm gonna give them full marks on that. I hear gunfire. but I can't see it. And it's not panned in stereo. Oh, yeah, it's outside to the left. We should look at TA Spring, actually, because I assume TA Spring has come on a long way. And, you know, if the time travel shiz in this game is up your alley, that'd be something to write in a TA Spring mod.
That seems like out of scope for a mod.
TA Spring's open source. TA Spring is a modern renderer for RTS games. Think of it that way.
Yeah, if you like take the traditional thing and replace it with total annihilation, which I think Spring is.
No, well, people are calling it Spring. To me, it's still TA Spring. So TA Spring was initially an open source remake of TA. I think it's just evolved essentially into a generic multiplayer platform. But yeah, I haven't looked at TA Spring in a long time. I'm sure it's come on a long way, and it was the way to play. Well, put it that way, TA.
But as far as I understood, there's like some engine architectural things that need to have this timeline to work, which are not likely to be trivial.
It's nothing more complicated than adding and removing units. From my point of view, you may have done a whole bunch of calculations somewhere in a script, and it all boils down to unit takes damage or unit's health updates. You know, you're integrating stuff. It's not rocket science.
But well, you can jump into any point of the timeline, and it doesn't need to have a time wave in it in order for you to jump it.
Yeah, so it goes back to the last snapshot and extrapolates forwards from there.
Yeah.
Which is a cool mechanic, but it's not really hard. It's not like trying to, implement ray tracing on a Intel GPU or something. It's a cool idea, but it's the idea that's the hard part rather than the implementation. The hard part always is rendering. Rendering stuff is always super hard. Simulating stuff is easy, and the next hard part is simulating stuff quickly enough. That is also very hard.
Well, I could get excited to remake Achron in a proper way, to have all the supporting elements, but I guess that's a financial thing.
If you were to do it from scratch, that's a huge amount of work, starting with, how do I draw triangles on the screen? Doing it within TA Spring, you already start off with that sort of thing. I really should I've got a time travel game. I've got two, actually, and they're both awesome. One of them has the best name ever, and I should really go back at some point and finish it. Shadowfoot, that's the other thing. Whether or not... I said, I think if the RTS in this game was massively stripped back, made very, very polished, and very small, and the whole game was about tactically, should I pop backwards in the future to do something? I think that'd be a lot better. We have a clunky RTS game, and I'm too busy playing the clunky RTS game to even consider these lines and stuff down there. So I wonder if something like XCOM could work very, very well with this sort of mechanic.
I have been very evil. I have used chronoportation, which I haven't explained, and I have made massive of...
I'm seeing loads of death appearing in fast. I do quite like that mechanic. I just wish I had a clue what was going on with these units. I just have a bunch of octopuses for some reason.
If you were to take this mechanic and present it in a really polished, gorgeous, easy to understand way, I think it's definitely got legs. I mean, like I said, when something zaps out of time, you should like maybe when something gets wiped out of time, you actually see it rewind along its time path, all blurring as it does it. That sort of thing. Show me the cool effects of time travel in a cool way. That sort of thing.
That particular thing is kind of a Quantum League. It's not straightforward to with buildings.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't. All it has to do is make sense. So you can say when a unit is wiped through time, its influence disappears backwards down the time stream, whatever. But the net effect is you see it whoosh backwards quickly along the way it came in, and you get to see it disappear from existence. Yeah,
So in the present, you like see a ghost of what happened in the past in the present when it gets wiped out.
No, if you're in the present and it gets wiped out, yes, you'd see it disappear. Because you can argue that's what time looks like. That's the advantage. You can do anything you like, but that sort of thing would look so cool. And showing off the cool effects of what happens with time. But yeah, I something like this crossed with XCOM rather than an RTS would be fabulous. Because you've got the time to actually appreciate the time element. Because this is unfortunately a fucking StarCraft X micromanagement clicks per minute thing, rather than a TA. You set up your base does its thing, and you just kind of bend and guide it the way you want it. Like it's a micromanagey RTS rather than a macro management RTS. But that's where XCOM style stuff. Oh, I'm just going to Google XCOM.
Isn't XCOM micromanagement also?
Yeah, but it's turn based. Yeah.
What colour am I on the thing? On the board? Am I red?
You're red.
Right, so I'm in the past, I see.
I'm sorry.
You're on the edge of being able to affect anything. Have fun waiting on your one command.
Error 17, unit objective 0, cycle limit exceeded.
That sounds like it means something.
The number of orders aren't really my issue. Not knowing what the units are is my first one. Not being able to find this guy.
I have 8 different breeds of octopus.
Did you see my octopus on the stream, Rob?
Yes, oh yeah. No, not on the stream.
Oh,
I saw the photo you posted.
Have you got the stream up?
I do. Are you going to go full screen so I can see properly, not as a little icon? Oh, I thought you meant that it's very dingly dangly there, isn't it?
So there's the one I printed before. And here's the new one I printed on the printer, which is huge. I feel like Joel. I feel like 3D printing nerd, printing out stuff as big as I can, So yeah,
it looks like you should be able to use it as a hat.
I could use it as a brain slug, maybe.
Yep, go on then.
Happy?
Very good.
But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It took me nearly 45 minutes to get it off the build plate. Because it's huge. I need my mouse cursor back.
What, to actually finally detach?
Actually finally detached, yeah, and I've got a couple of minor damages. So it was just so much surface area. I am the Octo King, I like it. Yeah, so something. Now, what game was it? There was a game before Laser Squad. Laser Squad was a precursor to XCOM, and in that you took your move, and then I took my move, and I can watch the your turn happen. But this, with the sort of the flavour of the XCOM stuff, I think would just work fabulously. Really, really well.
What's the key to make somebody a commander?
You can like try to attack your own unit.
Touch
the handy way.
Touch them on each shoulder with a sword.
H. There's the octopods only use the Arcticus for hierarchies.
Oh.
You have to use that. That's a weird limitation also.
I should get one of those.
You start out with one, but you really should.
I should buy it.
I'm passed many, many times.
I have done some chronopersonalization shenanigans to DJ. I don't know
I
whether
don't know what that
made any
means.
sense.
You might have just said, I've increased the Hertz cycles on all the flurbulators within 46 parsecs. And I'd be
I
like,
did
I
fan
wish you
stuff
said-
to you.
It's a lot of
Your
parsecs.
timeline might be in flux right now. So if you are surprisingly dead, don't panic.
I'd also like to see... I think the Fog of War could do with not being so shit. So my unit can see all of about 30 feet. I'd much rather see on the map time things happening, like little blips of time and stuff disappearing, and just extra energy being removed from the universe, that sort of thing.
At one point I thought that you should be able to see like multiple times at the time. Now you can only look at one time. But I guess because the time waves are there and they are simulated, you could like draw all of them on top of each other.
Yeah.
And like differentiate by color on which one is which.
And the further back in time it is, the more faded out it is. Yeah, you could absolutely do that.
Brilliant. Trying to figure out how to render a 4-dimensional game on a 2-dimensional screen.
Alpha.
What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing. That would look quite cool.
There is a VR game based roughly like here, where you have smooth things. I think it was Danger Noodles or what it was.
The game's called Danger Noodles. I'm already interested. I need to build some more. How do I build more people? Oh, I don't know. I've got some lying around.
I do like, but it says you were defeated at 29:14.
Yeah.
As in, it's not determined. That's an event that happens.
It
It's not
means
an-
it means you are wiped out. You are extinct at that point. You have not
Yeah.
lost the game, but you are in danger of dying.
Oh, I see. So this is Warcraft 1 levels of units. Harvesters can't fight back. They made a big thing about that in Warcraft 2, that the peasants died so many times in Warcraft 1, they took up their axes to fight back in the sequel. I love that sort of flavour text. Yeah, I did this. I did a time travelling game which was about building up time energy and doing damage to a boss and then zipping backwards and fighting with yourself. There was a platformer on the Xbox that I can't remember the name of.
That sounds very super similar to Super Broforce.
That's Super Broforce. Yeah. Did you play Super Broforce?
I think I did, yeah.
It's all of the time travel mechanics are completely pointless until the last level, which is unbelievably fucking hard. So essentially, it's how many times do I need to jump back in time in order to wipe out the boss? And the less times you jump backwards, the better. But I essentially did a boss rush game about time traveling. And same thing, you fought the boss and you would always die. And then you would build up time energy, and the more time energy you built up, the further you could jump backwards. So you could then fight the boss for more alongside yourself, or shield yourself from dying, and those sort of things. It was really cool.
I can't abort these commands. They're walking to their death.
Jump backwards in time and give them a different command.
I don't have enough chrono energy to give to abort the commands. I can see them walking to their death.
I do
managed it.
I do like the little. They're no offense if this is you, Shadow Fury. They're awfully animated, but they are lovely little lovely little creatures. Oh, he stopped animating. Maybe he's going through time. Nope. Nope. Max. 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 So, yeah, what I mean, what is better is a clear indication of what happened and when, and me to be able to go back and undo that, and then you go back and undo that, so we're all leapfrogging backwards until such point as one of us can't leapfrog backwards anymore. Like, it's not very clear. I mean, I might be able to do that. I might not be. But I said I'm struggling to a large degree with a fairly clunky RTS. Whereas something simple and straightforward to understand, combined with a time travel mechanic, I think would be awesome.
Home-based commander with time travel.
If you next time Izzard's around, say that, and he'll probably just go, ooh. Because isn't there? Oh, that reminds me. Isn't there a open source moon-based commander? Wasn't there a? Yeah, Moonkrieg. 9 years ago. I was in Unity though. MoonPie. But yeah, something like moon-based commander. Something very, very simple, straightforward, understandable, and but with these jump backwards thing.
There is also that you can move units through time. The humans can make the chronoport, so you can say that jump 2 minutes backwards. Kinda like they do in Tenet, although in Tenet they have to wait for the transit. But here it's like teleporting, and it's in fact.
Tenet's pretty good. If you watch it, turn the subtitles on.
Was it one of those?
No, the director specifically made it so you couldn't hear what's going on during a lot of the film. Which is okay if they're just talking about what they have for dinner, but not when they're going, and then when you travel backwards through time, actually, because the oxygen molecules go through your lungs, and the music's going, and you're like, sorry, the molecules do what through my lungs? Great music, don't get me wrong, the balance is all over the place, because I was watching a rip, and I'm like, this is awful. So then I fiddled with stuff, I got the 5.1 set up, and then Shalkka goes, oh yeah, a bunch of people complained about this. Quick Google, complaints everywhere. People going, I don't know what they're saying. Interesting. I mean, the idea that orders become harder to send backwards through time is a good one. And that does end up. But good players, they'll send orders, jump away to the effects after time wave comes, and then it's unplayable. I mean, it should be that you should probably always be able to jump backwards, but it's a harder leapfrog that requires longer and longer and longer to wait. I'm not going to write this, by the way. I want to. That's the bane of my life, given my particular career. I see a game and I go, you know what? I could do this better. But it's a lot of work. I've always wanted to write a multiplayer VR diorama scale XCOM game, and to do that with time travel would be sweet. I'm not going to, because I will not finish any of my current projects. My next project is a survival-esque voxel game, and then a factory voxel game, a social detection spaceship game, a transport tycoon VR game set in medieval times. I've got way too much on my plate. But if anybody wants to write an XCOM game with VR support and time travel, I will definitely tell you what you're doing wrong. For free.
Definitely really difficult to find people who will tell you what you're doing wrong.
But I'll tell you wrong in a useful way.
That never happens.
It does happen. That's my job, is to tell people what they're doing wrong in a useful way.
I'm very happy that despite A, not knowing what the hell I'm doing, and B, having died 3 times, I'm still not dead.
But you only died in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Which thus proves that this game is pure chance, because I have no idea what I'm doing and no one else has managed to kill me.
Well, I guess the flaw would be that you would finish the campaign and such, but I'm figuring out that we are only spending 1 evening here, so better get some gameplay done.
I'm in shock. Oh, is it someone who's cloaked? Just attack there. Attack where...
Right.
No, I can see the bullets spawning, but I can't see them because they're cloaked.
Now, there are detector units.
Yeah, I know, but I haven't got
But
any. There you go. Now I do.
Well, if it's not mine,
So I've just clicked somewhere. I don't know if I've just teleport forwards in time or backwards.
some of the community members were talking about whether we want to set up a bigger game. And there are some maps where you don't build any stuff, but only control stuff. And maybe flip-flop to time.
This reminds me when I played Kerbal and literally, why are these units not doing what I've wanted? I've sent them over here like 4 times now, and they're like,
Their prior orders reset.
what? No, if I set
You
an...
are, which
if
means
I-
you have to clear their orders before giving the new ones.
No, don't, no. What? So if I jump backwards, if I tell a unit to go to the left, jump backwards 10 seconds, say it will go to the right, it will go to the right for 10 seconds, then go to the left.
It'll go to the
Yes.
right, and then 10 seconds later, you'll tell it to go to the left.
Why the fuck do I not see all of the units' orders then?
I know.
I asked about that, and that seemed like a really important feature. They said some reason about that querying the timeline would be hard.
No, because
That was
Quite
what I was
slow.
saying about them walking into their death, and I didn't have enough chrono energy to order them to safety because
in-
they've had my prior
Yeah.
orders.
yeah, that's...
And I haven't explained the undo, but you could like, you go back, order them to go right, and then you undo so they don't receive the left command.
Yeah, but I mean, in subcom, I can give it. All right, if I set a unit and I say shift click there. Look, it can fucking draw it. Look. So why when
Yeah.
I? But if I jump backwards a few seconds now, so will those start to appear? Why aren't they already
There's
there?
a minor difference. I don't know whether that's a good excuse, but the queue exists now. The orders exist in the future, so they have to be accessed in a different time
Yeah, they
period.
would be orders that will be given, rather than orders that are given. So it's not like you've queued it up. Because if I give an order, then a future order comes in, and then I give another order, then the future order isn't at the end. The future order goes in the middle. In fact, the future order comes in and overrides it.
Yes, but it's not
I
showing
don't
me.
know how you'd represent it, but a queue, like in any other game where you have go to A, go to B, go to C, wouldn't work. You'd
Yeah,
have to visualize the fact that
You do, because with time travel, you have go to A and wait 15 seconds and then go to B. So that go to B should be shown. You know, maybe as a different colour thing showing it's in the future. Again, this game needs some serious
the
colour
question
coding.
is, even if it hasn't got to A, the go to B will override it. It's not
Yes,
go to A
but-
then go to
but you
B.
can-
It's go to A then forget A and go to B.
But you can draw that.
Somehow.
Well, yeah, you can. But
I don't know what
this-
it would look like.
again, this game needs serious colour coding. Everything in the past should be one colour, everything present should be another colour, everything in the future a different colour. And it's not. It's, I mean...
How would
Everything's
you solve
confusing
it not
in
being
RGB.
No, like all
How
my...
would you solve it being a smooth thing and not a discrete thing, whether something is past, future, or present?
But it is discrete. It's in the past, the present, or the future.
No, you can be at any point of the timeline.
Yep, and
So,
they can be split into
it's
3
for-
parts: past, present, and future. Unless I'm missing something.
I guess if you discretize it,
but
but
for orders, I want to see that in 1 minute's time, this tank is going to go here. I want to have a red or an orange line that starts very faint and gets less faint as that point arrives. So remind me that I, in the future, gave this an order, sent it there. I don't know what colour I am, blue. And then I jump backwards. I want to see that order. Come on, jump back. Okay. I want to see that order coming up. I don't want it to be just surprise going, oh, there's a... There. Oh, yeah, relative to my current time, yes. Yeah, orders timestamps in the future should be shown. Absolutely. Because then, you see, I could then use time travel malarkey to sort out my orders thing. But, like there, I lost loads of units because I jumped back in time, gave them an order to go somewhere else, and then went off. I don't know I've got any orders in the future, because if we're talking over several minutes, am I supposed to remember all the orders I gave to them in the future? Because it's not... what's that thing? Snap. Not snap. What's that thing where you have a whole bunch of things and you have to find matching pairs? Match 2, I guess.
Life.
It's not the game of life.
Have a pharaoh.
But yeah, relative to my current position in time. So orders these have should, orders that are coming up that I have given them should pre-appear. Definitely. Just in a minute, it just whooshing off into the middle of the base because I fiddled with it several minutes ago of real time, and several minutes in the future in game time shouldn't be a surprise to me. But I mean, this is coming from someone who hasn't played this. You see, this is fresh player feedback, as opposed to after a while, you get used to it. You're like, yeah, don't worry about it. You get used to remembering it. But that's what stops people playing. That as I said, acquired taste is not something you go, oh yeah, it tastes shit, but you get used to it. No, that's the Stockholm syndrome. That's not good. Like beer tastes like recycled. Beer tastes like bin recycled. Yeah. Oh, what?
Basically the whole alcohol industry, apart from Malibu, which is quite nice because it's full of sugar.
What was it I had that was quite nice? I had some sort of rum, some ridiculous. We seem to end up with just ridiculous rums in our house.
Rums can be quite nice. The more sugar, the nicer.
Yes. So, right. So these guys don't heal people nearby. That's what I don't want to have to click and right click to repair. Click.
That only heals biologicals, which is essentially small dudes and big dudes.
Right. Okay.
They are trying to
Shalkka,
copy StarCraft, I
Shalkka,
think.
imagine a minute. I've just stabbed you. You're going to go to the hospital because you've been stabbed a bit. Will you go to the hospital for a medical procedure or to be repaired? That's what it says.
I'm not going to be repaired.
It says repair targets. No. It should be heal, not repair. Big difference. So how do I fix knackered vehicles? Is that the mech?
Blackbird and a mobile field base can repair mechanicals.
Blackbird. I don't seem to have any of these things.
I think they're from the macrofab of the bigger factory. You might need research machinery or things. Those are made from armory, the thing that makes small dudes.
I'm also annoyed that I can't, when I hover over a building, I don't get any indication anywhere on the screen what I'm hovering over. I have to click on it. So I want to be like, oh, is this the... what game was very...
Distinct shapes, it would be helpful. But everything I have is red with domes.
Well, mine are all square and blue.
Domes or tentacles is the only way I know the difference between what I've got.
I'm guessing...
Oh shit, that one has domes and a tentacle. It's called a spire, but it's got 4 points on it. So it's not that spiry.
Aha! Carrier.
It doesn't appear to do anything either. Apart from morph into something unhelpful.
So, what game was it? Dawn of War was supremely good at this. So this is something that I do. I do complain about games. If I'm playing it, it means I'm enjoying it at least to some degree. I would like games I play to be better, and I do try and call out where games do something very well. Dawn of War had the tooltips of horror. The tooltips were this big, covered half the screen, and you could ignore them or read them. So you sort of learn the game through osmosis. Like you didn't even realise you were learning about the game, but you were.
God, how have you got so much money?
Me?
Yeah.
Because I'm very bad at spending it.
I've just realised that I didn't have any money makers, so that didn't help.
Ah, yeah, and I've also used up all the money here. I mean, this is better than any RTS I've ever released, so, I can't complain too much.
What's TSS?
Temporal Soliton Shield makes it invulnerable.
Ah. I should have one of those, that sounds useful.
Also, I'm hearing sound effects. I'm not seeing anything, and that's really bad. Oh, wait, there's some green dots.
I think that's intentional. Kind of like making it interesting that you can see only a limited thing, but you can hear beyond your sight range.
In a game where you can't, like, you can travel forwards and backwards in time, to then limit me in three-dimensional space as well does seem a bit...
Yeah, but the issue is that your hearing is not limited, and your vision is limited. You are expecting your hearing to be also limited.
Apparently, everybody in the future has serious vision problems, and a lot of RTS games suffer from that. Though, they're 30 feet apart, going, nope, not doing anything. Happy birthday, Shalkka, by the way. Did you get anything good?
Not that much.
Aw.
I had fun. Sometimes it comes a bit.
You just went, I had fun. Like someone forced you to have fun. And you did have fun, but you're like, I wish I wasn't being made to have fun. You can't phrase it like that.
Sometimes obligation to like arrange parties, it can like be socially taxing.
Are parties legal in the people? They're fining people over here for having parties.
I didn't do anything physical. I did have like a telepresence thing.
Ah, you should have just got a picture of yourself and just have people think that you were there. Just smile. Ooh. Oh, my print just finished. Ooh, let's hope it finished successfully. That looks pretty good. Fingers crossed it works. So this is interesting. Although it's fascinating that bloom is taking a random amount of time, and that should be a fixed cost. And 5 milliseconds to swap the buffers, it's probably trying to hit the frame rate. So why is it running at 60? Stupid game.
What's this guy going so slowly? I have a resource thingy. I asked him to move 4 squares, and he moved 1 and then stopped. Moved another and then stopped.
That happens a lot. What? Okay, was it? Yeah, it was. And I don't think it's in TA, but it was in Subcom. At all points, it would show me all the idle builders, and that was wonderful. So right now, I've got some builders, and we won't get. Oh, see, I just went back in time, and all my units disappeared.
They were blown up.
Yeah, by you.
Yeah.
Assuming you're the Mango Man here.
I'm not that man.
You're not Mango Man.
No.
Mango, 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 mango.
Yeah. In some previous stream, you were talking about how people who play games assume that it's easy, and people like who don't play games. I think the example was first-person shooters, and how new players don't face dangers, so they can be shot in the back without realizing that they are being hurt. So in an RTS game, you might learn to actively look spatially around, but in Achron you need the additional skill to look. If something confusing happens, see what the cause was. And I guess it being more obvious would be a good direction. In Quantum League, people are arguing that a minimap would take away from map awareness. And you could make the argument here that figuring out the reason would be part of the challenge. But it would be an easier access game if it was apparent on what changed.
Yeah, if everybody has the same advantage, then it's not an advantage.
Yeah, but then you can't be good or bad in the thing that's done for you.
Shadow Fury, I don't believe it's doing depth of field that quickly. Depth of field is a very expensive effect. Blurs are because it's multiple taps. Bloom is pretty cheap. No, I was just guessing the bloom should be a fixed cost. It should be just solid, the same number of pixels every frame. But yeah, the depth of field is... I like depth of field. I know it's one of those that people hate. Why am I Spider-Manning off into the horizon here?
Really don't like that units in this are multi-purpose. I can use them to grow, to reproduce, or I can use them for what they're intended for. It very confuses my
Yeah,
brain.
here we've got mechs and soldiers, which make the small and the large units, and you don't get to fiddle with like that. That's silly. They shouldn't use both. Like, builder units should be pretty much builder units.
And this, everything is everything, because you can't make anything without another unit. Oh, Shalkka, what are you doing in the past?
Taking all your monies.
Oh,
I'm going to be more evil even.
Shadow Fury, who are you? Do I know you? Are you a Fortress Craft person who's seen this turn up? Has like, I feel like your name is very slightly familiar.
He does spring tournament castings or something. He might be familiar from Total Annihilation.
I might surprise you, but I've never watched TA Spring tournaments. Is he famous? Should I be interested in who he is?
Well, he's Achron famous.
Why do we keep getting people who are famous watching us? It's weird. I had someone famous in the Rick and Morty community come and watch me when I did the Rick and Morty game. We had someone famous in the Elite community watching us. Now, this guy's famous. We had somebody else famous as well.
It's a relative thing.
Ah, right, I see. Okay, so he's your friend. Well, welcome. I know what I'm doing. I'm quite enjoying the time travel thing. I wish it was done. I say better. It's a bit hard. More modern. It is a better way of phrasing it. It is an old game, and if the time travel stuff was all done in a much more snazzy way, that would be cool. So I can see now that nothing happened in the past.
no, don't. Abort. Quit.
At some point I might go back to my time travel game. I only spent a weekend on it, but yeah, it was time traveling shmup, and it was good fun. And it was designed for tournament play. The idea, not tournament play, like speedrunners, because it was a fixed level, and you'd see how quickly you could defeat it with what tactics.
It's funny when you described what the mechanics would be. When I learned on how Achron worked, and there was no demo available, but I like came up with these tactics, and one of the tactics was fighting along yourself. You would go in the battle, shoot a little, then back up into a chronoport, and then like walk alongside yourself and shoot a little more, and you would turn one unit into an army.
Yes, I mean that's in theory how what was that called? Not Venture Brothers. That's the thing from Warcraft. Time Force, Super Time Force worked. Super Time Force. So I saw Super Time Force. I saw the trailer and I went, "Holy shit, that's brilliant!" So I wrote a whole time traveling game, a shmup run on a platform around the same mechanic, and I wrote it in a weekend. I never released it because I just sort of did it as the challenge. And they took like 3 years to come out, and the time travel mechanic was almost entirely irrelevant in the game by that point.
Yeah, and that game breaks causality quite bad. So it's like not pleasing in a theoretical sense.
In what how do you mean? Explain as you would a child.
Would I be explaining these kinds of things to a child?
I don't understand when you say it breaks causality. It's a time travel game. Cause and effect no longer really apply.
Well, they do to an extent.
But
They are
Like,
the mechanic rather than just...
like you jump onto a platform, and then you jump off the platform.
yeah,
Then in the next iteration, the platform gets destroyed.
yeah.
Then
But that
if
game
the-
doesn't have that though.
But that's the kind of causality break that I'm complaining about, and remember that some stuff like that
But the
happens in that game.
But yeah, the game didn't have anything like that You had no destructible scenery. This is my point. And until, apart from the boss fights, we had to rewind time a lot. It was pretty much irrelevant until the last level where you suddenly had to master jumping forwards and backwards through time in a really, really, really sort of tight fashion. It was really odd. Like, the game just went from hugely easy to mind-bogglingly hard. I wonder if Dungeon Keeper would also work with this sort of mechanic.
A lot of things could benefit from this twist. And the problem is with time travel games, it's like sprinkle a little bit of lore, and like the games call themselves time travel games way too easy, and they like don't engage with the mechanic. Like, we have levels that have pyramids on them. This is now a time travel game. Like, is Serious Sam a time travel game? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But I would expect that kind of thing. Like, if it has time travel, my first thing is check: is it mechanical or is it just lore thing? This level is set on the future. This level is set on the past. We play on linearly.
I really think the Super Time Force is an excellent way of doing it, because in Super Time Force, you jump back in timewards and fight alongside yourself. Your goal is to try and do it as little as possible, because obviously it's a huge advantage, but it's immediately understandable. And I could explain it to my mum, and she'd get it. Try and explain this to my mum, she's not going to get it. And that's a really important thing. My mum does play computer games, and she's 83, something like that. She likes DDR, she likes racing games, but she doesn't get the concept of nested menus, which is something that you don't get outside of computers. You don't get the concept of a filing cabinet, and inside the filing cabinet is another filing cabinet. So it's not something she's come across. She doesn't have any sort of real world analogy. Whereas if you can see yourself jump backwards through time, hopefully it's fairly obvious what's going on.
Yeah.
And a serious Sam with time travel would be awesome. That's kind of like multiplayer by... Wait. Time warp happen. Can I just wind backwards through time as much as I like? I can just go double click backwards through time. It's all good.
You can look anywhere for free, can't you?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a cooldown.
Like
you can
around the map.
spam it, but you can freely look around.
One thing also that TA Subcom do better is I've got this enormous unit that's getting its arse whooped by teeny tiny units, and that does not happen in TA. Like, I assume these are big, powerful units. I can't tell. I click them and it says Octaligo, whatever the fuck that means. But they're like one-shotting stuff. So I assume they're powerful. They just don't look powerful. Oh, now time's gone back, but I'm so far back in time.
The cool game is that this game doesn't break under paradoxes. Like, if you use a chronoporter, jump back in time and use the unit to kill the chronoporter, then the unit can't make the jump back, but the engine can keep on updating on what happens. And it makes it like an oscillating thing that the timeline switches between the unit being alive and it being dead. That's a cool thing. Because some people would say that time travel is inconsistent and shows how it can't be made sense, but Achron is a proof on how you can have mechanics. And conceptually it is the meta time thing that makes it work.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is very, very, very similar to the way the Kerbal Space Program multiplayer mod worked as well. With essentially, you can run back and forwards through the timeline, which you can then affect the timeline at different places. It worked really well. Sadly, it broke as the game got patched, and the devs promised they'd put it in and never did because they're a bunch of lying fucks. Hey, Danny. I swear this normal map's back to front.
Have you been beaten already?
Me? No?
I guess
Oh, yes.
in Age of Empires there was an issue that if you were essentially lost but wanted to stay alive as long as you wanted,
Hunt
you
the
could
farm.
make the life very difficult for the winning player.
By playing... Yeah, Hunt the Farm, it was called in Warcraft. You just hide a farm somewhere, and then you didn't count as losing.
Do we want to set up a next game? Or has our brains already exploded? We could try the
You
map
haven't beaten
that...
me yet.
Huh?
You haven't beaten me.
Right. Let's go hunt the red ones.
Sorry, Rob, I'm just going to blow up green ones for you.
Cool. Thank you.
Welcome.
Part of the thing would be that like, they assumed that players would be like really familiar with the units.
Yeah. I honestly think massively simplifying the RTS elements of this and making it simple and polished would have really helped them. I mean, Quantum League's a fairly simple shooter with time travel element, which is what elevates it. But having a really complicated shooter, like, you know, having Borderlands plus time travel would not be a good idea. Now, can you do anything? Change, remove? No, I guess not.
I guess we assess that this is an interesting idea, but the execution is at least so, if not
Yeah.
bad.
Well, I think the time execution's fine. I mean, I think as far as I can tell, it's perfect. It's just too complicated a game around the time concept. As I said, the Super Time Force, in my mind, worked excellently because the time travel element was so trivially understandable. You got it in a heartbeat. And that's important. Again, talking about my mum loves the Terminator films, but took quite some watches to get them because too much complicated stuff is happening. And not that my mum is particularly good or bad necessarily at, you know, understanding time travel, but you need to make sure none of your audience goes, I haven't got a clue what the fuck's going on. I mean, I guess I would lose every single match, but nothing is forcing me to worry about the time travel thing at all. Like, it's irrelevant. It's completely, totally irrelevant to the game. You could play this whole game as a straight RTS game. The time travel mechanic is optional. It might give you an advantage. I'd probably lose all the matches, but it's not integral to the gameplay.
Yeah. Part of the issue was that when this was actively played, people were like wary of dealing with paradoxes. So they just wanted to play a straight, nice RTS game. And the paradox things are, they can easily bite yourself. And you can easily confuse yourself more than you're confusing the opponent.
Yeah.
So like having the game punish you for engaging with the time travel element is kind of bad.
Rob, I can't find Shalkka. Where is he? Oh, that's you. Sorry. No. Huh? Where's Shalkka?
There was this corner. There was this corner where there were red things.
Yeah, but you're green.
I
so
have
nice
infested a whole lot of this map.
Well, I've just blown up a whole bunch of shit at some point in the past or present. So if I flew around and I didn't find anything, I should whoosh back in time to the last time I killed something, and then do a better job.
See,
You can go to the place where there's damage done. If you want to do it manually.
So when we've got these time blips, these should appear on the mini-map, because it's all very well saying, this damage you didn't see, but I still don't know where the hell it was.
Well, it's obviously in that time period.
Yeah, but
where on the map?
Yeah, where on the map?
Oh, if you do go back to the time period, then they blip on the map in the time period.
Tab can use the maxi map also.
No, nothing wrong with the map, Shadow Fury. This is perfectly acceptable. So how do I clear all the future orders? Because my units are fucking off in the wrong direction.
Double undo.
Double Control Z. That just pauses the game.
Unless you remount it.
It undoes all future orders.
How do I unpause?
For selected units.
Oh, right, that's pause game. Sorry, what? Double undo?
Yeah, Z is the default bind. And next to pause, you have the undo on the graphical user interface.
Why is there not just a button marked clear? Stupid game.
What's the difference between clear and undo?
Undo undoes the last thing I did. Clear stuff in the future. An undo button that undoes stuff in the future is a very confusingly labelled undo button. Never do.
That's not how it works. I get how that is in conflict on what's the user experience in Windows.
Yeah, but I want to clear all a unit's future orders. Clear future orders would be an acceptably enable button as well.
I figured out how to build a spire earlier, and now I've completely forgotten.
Far off morphs into it. The most tanky of them. So the alien race that we have not seen are like masters of teleportation. And they build units like in a hexagon grid. And when their tanks die, the pilots turn into infantry units.
Ah, damn. Sorry, Rob. Shalkka's in the southwest. But there doesn't seem to be any way to get to him apart from carrier units, which is annoying. Oh, I think my game froze. Yeah, my game froze up there. I guess if I let Rob kill me, or Shalkka, I'll become an observer. It hasn't told me I've lost yet, which has confused me.
You have to, like, the defeat has to go off the past edge of the timeline, where it cannot change.
Okay,
in order for it to count.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get a drink while I lose. I'll be back in a moment.
Spire. Plant. Not plant, but whatever. What's the... That's not auto. It just all that.
Shadow Fury is saying that he designed the map to be more irrelevant. And you're probably right in that, but we are like not getting used to all the units. So I might have intentionally like stayed on the central area.
Well, that didn't help, does it? How can it be an air foot soldier? This makes no sense to me.
What is an air foot soldier?
A sepipod is an air foot soldier, which is obviously nonsense.
It's
But
an
anyway.
air unit. It's not a tank. All the squids are like walk around.
Yeah.
Why am I still in the game? I'm here, kill me!
Oh, I've given these guys orders. They just don't want to go. They're just hovering around.
Oh no, a sneak attack.
It's not a sneak attack, I was just there.
Just an attack. Why don't
This
they
will be
go?
rectified.
Get a move on. Oh dear.
So I think that the developers were probably a bit better off making it, say, much more understandable RTS game with an excellent time travel element, and then building upon that for a sequel. Because there's nothing about the RTS element at this that sings, really, which is a shame. Because Subcom, TA, they were very, very, very polished in what you could do. This is better than StarCraft, which I've never enjoyed particularly. Wait, why did my units teleport backwards there? So a time shift had happened and my units just went bloop to another position.
You see my units disappear, maybe.
Oh, so that's because they... Yeah, but my units don't move with their own accord.
Yeah, but I went into the past with the units and shot them there.
Yeah, but they
So they
move rather than... I suppose. Wow. Does someone give me a free copy of the game? That's the point. We still should play Dead Island.
What's Dead Island?
It's like Borderlands, but in a zombie thing. Oh, they haven't actually released anything else, I see. Okay.
Who have not.
Hazardous Software have not released anything else.
What's the deal with the danger noodles? Was that only a like beta or something?
Danger Noodles. Z-Time. Danger Noodles was by... did they set up... Oh, right, yes. They've set up another completely separate... Right, can I now become an observer? Are you serious? When you lose in an RTS game, you become an observer. You don't get... So I'm the host. So if I go back to the main menu, I can't go back to the main menu and rejoin the game as a host.
I have crashed, so it might make it.
Sorry, this is their explanation. What the fuck?
Explanation of what?
It's like, see your future, right? Okay, yep. Then it says, see the danger, right? And then it goes, well, what happened there? What was that?
I think that's more like in Kerbal Space Program, where as you burn, you see your as you burn your energy, you see your trajectory change.
Yeah,
confusing
that'd
video.
be awesome. That's what I mean. I'm looking at this going, what? Like if you was a space combat game where you saw the future and then you could see, but what am I supposed to be looking at here? Are these obstacles? Why is everything see-through?
It's a 2D game with time being the depth dimension.
They probably should have started with that, shouldn't they?
I guess. They are like more engineers than game designers, and
Well-
like as a player suffer from that, but then I like glad about the toys and tools that they make.
Well, I don't... Oh, I'm not... I've still got a vehicle. I've still got a thing left. Oh, cloaked. How do I uncloak this? I'll just fly it over into Shalkka's base. Oh, hold on.
I also can't reconnect, so
Well, this is the perfect time for me to attack then. Aha!
You should have attacked in the future, Rob.
That doesn't help.
And then why is it VR?
Because it's VR.
Great brain.
Because you can see the 3D like it's very
Yeah.
confusing on a flat screen. I guess it would be less confusing when you can see the depth.
Yes, depth is superb.
For that game, it can matter like a lot.
Oh yes, yes, a good point. I can. Yay! Okay, wait. So when I spectate, I still get fog of war. Just I get for everyone's fog of war.
Well, that's okay because then you know what's not there.
I guess.
In the story, the squids have like a telepathic connection with each other. Not at all like the Kala of the Protoss, but there's like a central mind that controls all of them. And the lore is a lot about the other aliens breaking free of the telepathic communication.
That was my base, Rob.
I thought you were dead, given that you were spectating.
I surrendered, yes. Yeah, so Shalkka, say that all again, and I will interject at the appropriate point. Say everything you just said again.
In the Achron lore.
Skip.
Yeah.
I mean, and Subcom's got extensive lore. I think TA does as well. But Homeworld does. But Homeworld delivers it to you as it goes along in a brilliant and wonderful way.
Well, we're not playing the story, but the story would be single player content. And that has its issues. And one of the issues is that no cutscenes. It's all like still images and such.
Yeah, I mean, Homeworlds was only just a step above cutscenes. But above still images, by the way.
Yeah. The story has some good bits, but it's like also has some very interesting issues. Like people were confused. In the mission 3, they thought that they were playing as one character, when in fact you were playing as another character. So being confused who you were playing as for 3 missions is like kind of an odd problem to have.
I also feel that I should be able to drag the timeline backwards and forwards and just scrub rather than clicking and jumping. I can also scrub.
Like, would
Like
you view like reflect that?
Yes.
Would it like open
As
all the
you
time?
drag the thing around, the units fast forward or rewind to wherever they should then be.
By the way, I'm in the future, Rob, and the future hasn't been done yet. So your units are just sitting there in the future. So when you give them an order, I expect they're going to just teleport. But no, when a time wave arrives, they'll teleport, I guess.
Yeah, to where they would have got to.
So only was it once a minute a time wave? No, once every 2.5. No, it's 2.5 minutes.
You can like see the separation in the timeline.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out how much it's about 2.5 minutes. But yeah, it reintegrates everything every 2.5 minutes. Yes. Waiting for. So I just jump backwards in time, and so the point where I've got Rob's orders, and then forwards in time, and the units weren't where they were. So me jumping backwards and forwards in time affects what I see.
And that was very confusing because I just got
wrong.
defeated in the future for a second.
Jumping doesn't propagate. You were like saying that it would propagate.
Okay,
Doesn't.
I jumped forwards in time, and Rob's units were in a location. They were stuck because Rob had not given them any orders, because Rob is in the past to me. I jumped backwards in time, and they'd moved. I jumped back to where I was, they'd gone again. So I managed to alter the location of units physically by doing nothing other than jumping forwards, because I went from the future, where there was no data, back and then forwards again.
Yeah, that's part of what I was trying to get at. Players are time waves. And you looking at something affects what the state of the timeline is.
That's the Heisenberg principle in action right there, isn't it?
Kind of like something Heisenberg doesn't have a principle of in action.
Yes, the Heisenberg principle is that observing an object causes it to act differently.
You might be talking about the Schrödinger cat or
No,
the Zeno effect.
Now, Schrodinger's has the cat is both dead and alive, and viewing it causes the collapsing of the two simultaneous states. Because you have a Heisenberg, and a Heisenberg is one that acts differently when you're trying to debug it.
Yeah, but Heisenberg has the uncertainty principle that applies differently. But yeah, the bug is called Heisenberg.
Yes, because observing the bug causes it to change. The Heisenberg principle is that observing a particle... Is it a particle that goes a different way when you look at it, or some such thing? Something like that. Rob, just go north, for fuck's sake. North.
North.
There might not be in physics that thing named by that.
What? Heisenberg principle?
Yes.
You have Schrödinger effect and you have the Zeno effect. And Heisenberg has the uncertainty principle, but that's a different thing.
Yeah, the uncertainty principle is you cannot measure the velocity and the position of an object at the same time.
Yeah.
What's it? Observation paradox. Is that the one? The observer's paradox. Yeah, that's what it is. So observer's paradox, not Heisenberg's. Oh, so when the next time wave arrived, it would have done it. But basically, things don't propagate in real time past the end of the time waves. You have to wait for it to sort of ripple.
The time waves do the propagation.
Yeah, but if I sit in the future, I don't get real-time updates on the time wave, so I've got to wait, wherever it was, 2.5 minutes. Rob, go northwest? East.
Well, the state you are in will simulate. Like, what you are seeing will not freeze.
And it just crashed. Oh, it's all right, guys. They're going to report the problem to Microsoft. Microsoft, get these going. I don't give a shit. So Z-Time, Danger Noodles. Again, Valve should just remove these off the store. We will be coming out in Q3 2017. Still in early access.
So I have to say, that was interesting, very painful at the beginning. But after some practice, it begins to make some sense.
Yeah, it's a shame that there isn't a more up-to-date one that's still being worked on and everything.
And don't play octopuses.
Don't
play the octopus race.
I think Hazardous Software is doing the serious business side of things. They went out of entertainment and went into the serious business.
I hope they rename themselves. If they're doing serious stuff, calling themselves Hazardous Software is not a good idea.
Anyway, I'm going to call it there. So
yeah, that's probably a good point. Yes, that was interesting. Unfortunately, I don't think I've got my code for my old time travel game, and I can't remember what it was called. Which is a shame because it was really cool. I did kind of work on an update to it, but yeah, it was really, really, really a great idea. And it was a shmup, pardon me, with Super Time Force's jump backwards and fight with yourself gimmick, which was great, and I really enjoyed that. It was just I should have released it, you know. But yeah, Valve should absolutely remove stuff off. If you set an early access release date and you don't hit it, you should be kicked off Steam. If you abandon it, it should be gone.
Well, they're using the Monopoly station, so if they don't do the platform responsibilities well, it's not like people are going to flood into Epic Games launcher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this guy here says this game was marred by poor design choices, namely adding massive micromanagement to troop control. I agree. I want to be watching the battle. I want to be deciding, right, we're going back in time. We're going to do something, as opposed to move here, move here, move here. Oh, you over here, you over here. They went down the StarCraft route of micromanagement more than anything else. Kohaka, Valve actually do check the state of your game before you leave early access, and they won't pass it. But yeah, it is a shame as with anything, there's lots and lots of games where you go, you know what, that could have been done better. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of this game. I can remember the name of the character in the game, which is unhelpful, but I can't remember the name of the game, which is annoying. So tomorrow we are doing Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare, which is under EA Play, and it's 80p for your first month, which is basically nothing. And then it goes up to $3.99 in 3 months or something like that. I can't remember what it is. So we will be looking at that one tomorrow. It's not very big, 15 gigabytes or something, and it's essentially Battlefield set in the Plants vs Zombies universe. But I played the first two, and they were excellent, like truly excellent games. So that is our goal for tomorrow. But yeah, thank you for that, Shalkka. It's a shame. I do look at that and go, there's definite scope there, but they were too busy trying to have a good RTS game and a good time travel thing, and didn't manage to marry the two. And this happens a lot of games. You know, you need to do what you do. You need to do really well. Actually, like the wandering around and building stuff is brilliant fun. And once that moment to moment, second to second gameplay is fun, stuff you bolt on does not necessarily need to be quite so good and polished. So all of their combat, moving around, units, explosions, selecting, interface, that needed to just sing. And then the time travel mechanic isn't you trying to fight complexity on complexity. It becomes a tool you can use. I would have liked to have seen I'd like to see, unfortunately, all of the XCOM games aren't multiplayer. And I mean the old ones, the good ones. I'm fairly good mates with the guy who did the art for... It's not going to run, is it?
Boom in the market for time travel audiences. It's not like people are expressing it well. And I guess the community is like trying to rebirth Achron, and like it could be done again, and having Tenet style mechanics or something additional, or just like doing it right. Like, what difference does it make if you made it wrong? If the game made simple and right would be a good game and would sell. Like the concept doesn't like attribute.
Wait, just stop talking.
It's still a good idea.
Can't hear you. Hold on. Sorry, this just got really loud. There we go. Sorry. Carry on. I could hear you for the first bit, and then the music just got really loud.
If it's a good idea and it didn't get executed right the first time, it can still make sense to make it again. Like failure is a good first step to success.
Unlike films, nearly always a sequel to a game is better. So films quite often are worse. The sequels are worse, not better. Whereas with games, generally speaking, it's better. So that's why you're better releasing a smaller, polished game and then coming back and improving it. I swear. Oh, Open XCOM. See, I wonder if there was an open source one. See, if there's XCOM at multiplayer, that could be really cool.
Laser Squad Nemesis was kind of little like that, but it like required some central servers, which doesn't. And I've tried to talk about it previously. I don't know what you mean by multiplayer XCOM, but I think Laser Squad Nemesis was like that.
Oh man, Laser Squad Nemesis. Yes, it was. So did you ever play Laser Squad?
No, I remember from last streams when you like shown me.
Yeah, so Laser Squad, they've just taken clips from films. That's Charlie Sheen right there. There's Ripley going through a doorway. That is blatantly Ben Elton. They've taken screen grabs from films and drawn over it, like they got away with it.
There's also Frozen Synapse that would count as multiplayer XCOM.
Is that multi? I should probably play that. I'm quite good friends with both of the guys who wrote that. I've never played it. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Dave, if you're watching.
Frozen Synapse?
Yes. What was the other one they did? It was a robot. It was an American football robot fighting game. But yeah, good mates with both of those guys. If you do end up watching this, I apologise for not having played your game. I've just been... there's 1,000,001 games out there. So, did Laser Squad... So, I'm not sure. So, Open XCOM supports a whole bunch of games. Including... and I can't tell if it's multiplayer. Where's your FAQ about? UFO 2000 apparently supports multiplayer battles. Oh my god. This website's from the past, isn't it? Frozen Cortex, thank you. Yes. So it was brilliant. So they announced Frozen Cortex, and I just tweeted, and I follow him on Twitter, and I just replied back to Dave about 7 going, what, like Cyberball 2038? And he goes, I didn't know anybody played that. I'm like, oh yes, I did play that one. It's an obscure arcade game, an Atari. Is it Cyberball 2038, 2072? That's the one. So it's an American football game in robots. Quite a nice cab. Awful game. Didn't do very well. Quite unknown. But yeah, I just responded with like that one. He went, didn't realise anyone who played that. Yes, apparently UFO 2000, which I don't know what that is. Turn-based tactical squad simulation.
When they started to make the new XCOMs, I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't multiplayer focused. It seemed to be single player focused.
I believe I own the new XCOM. I didn't play it. Which one is it? Is it XCOM Enemy Unknown is the new one? 86 minutes, yeah. I played about 86 minutes, of which a full half was watching fucking cutscenes. I'm like, no, screw this. Every time I click on something, guy does a little cutscene, runs along, I'm like, no. It's like the developers haven't played their own game. You tried to get through as many turns per minute as you can because battles were massively long, and the last thing you wanted to do was to watch your guy just like run along and then crouch behind a car or something. Terror of the Deep is amazing. UFO Defense is brilliant. Apocalypse, I believe, was a bit of a red-headed stepchild. I'm not sure about Interceptor and Enforcer. Oh, Enforcer was the third-person shooter, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh my goodness me, that looks like it's the Unreal Engine, doesn't it? But yeah, unfortunately, UFO 2000 was banned in 2012, which is a shame. And it was a multiplayer-only Enemy Unknown game. But sadly, they've got a Google Plus page. Oh, that's great then. But yeah, I did enjoy those sort of things. You take your turn and then you just watch the other turns happen.
And it also was like play by email. Like some of the games you have to have both players sitting at the computer at the same time.
Yeah.
With Glacial Quad Nemesis you could have like 10 games going on at the same time, and some games would be slow and some games would be fast, but it wouldn't really matter because it was turn-based.
Was it?
And you would take your time to think about your turn.
Was it? Yeah, and then one bloke in the chain wouldn't get around to responding and it'll stop. Yes. Was it Age?
Yeah, but it wouldn't matter if you just started more games. If you had too few games open, they were too slow, you would open more games.
Yeah, I always seem to recall those things lasted about 3 weeks for someone just we weren't in front of our email all the time at that point, is I think what happened to a lot of it. Is it Age of Wonders? I think had play by email stuff. Because a friend of mine, one of the guys in our channel, Dave Spice, he wrote a modern. Is it Mappy? I can't remember the name of the email format. A modern wrapper for that to support play by email on modern clients, because no one uses POP3 anymore.
The hazardous software guys were talking about what the time travel would like apply to World of Warcraft. So you would like be in a dungeon. I don't know how World of Warcraft really works, but you would like time shift it so that you could like after the fact participate in the dungeon.
Yeah, I mean, if you go along the Super Time Force approach to time travel, I think you can pretty much always do it. Like, that works in almost any game and is an interesting concept, and essentially allows you to supplement skill and luck with retrying and helping yourself out and healing yourself so you don't die and stuff. I don't understand how I have a Steam account just for XCOM. Oh, right, no, I've searched XCOM, so I don't just have I don't have a Steam account that just owns 5 XCOM games and 6 XCOM games and nothing else. Are you on your way back soon, Tad? How long are you there for? Is that not all done now? Is it not all gone down? I did love the XCOM games. Very, very atmospheric. Really, really, really good games. And it's a pity they aren't the new ones. I just really, 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 I just didn't like it. I wanted to play a lovely updated version of it, but it was just too pretty. It had too much graphics in the way of playing the game, which was a shame. And it lacked a lot of the atmosphere. But
It is like older games had more like the content of the game was the game design. Modern games like think that the graphics are the content.
yeah,
So and the game mechanics don't age that well. So you take an old game and you like keep the game design kind of intact, and then do all the new graphics, all the good stuff, and think that you have provided something new, when in fact the dynamical world aspect of it has not advanced one bit.
yes. I mean, that's what I mean. Transport Tycoon, I'm happy to play it no matter how. Oh my god! No matter how it is, because there's nothing wrong with it. There never was anything wrong with it. It didn't try too hard, so it looks fine. Sure, whatever. That's very loud. Wait, wait. Oh my god. Help! Music! I'll do it via Windows then. Yeah, 3% volume. Yeah, I am curious to look at Simutrans. So, one of the weird things about Transport Tycoon is it has a very crunchy look to it, whereas this has kind of a very high resolution but no detail look. A lot of the sort of the remakes of games look like that. But yeah, we will definitely have to give this one a whirl, because this really does look like Transport Tycoon.
I kinda know that game well, like I'm assuming that Transport Tycoon is similar to that, but I would guess that maybe you can affect down growth more directly here. But I'm assuming because I don't know how Transport Tycoon works in the details. And I guess there's a lot of cross-pollination. And like if Achron encourages you to make the fight along your side shooter, that like develops the time travel game culture or whatever.
You've played Simutrans then, or have you just recommended it?
Yeah.
So, a couple of things. First of all, my PC is running at 25 frames a second. I'm on a 3080 here with a 1900K. Secondly, I've just turned on day-night cycle. So about every 10 seconds it goes from night to day. Why would you do this? I can't work out how to make the UI bigger. Like,
I could guess why. You want the years is the cycle that controls the rollout of the new trains, and then you decide how many days or months are in a year. And I don't. If you pick realistic, you would be in a big trouble. But then you might want to, like, do you use 10-hour month, 10-day months, or is 1 month 1 day?
oh yeah, no,
Kind of consideration.
No, I understand. So in a game where day and night happens every 20 seconds or so, why would you implement a day-night cycle?
Because you have nighttime graphics, and it would be boring to be
What?
only daytime graphics. But
I
might
think
not be a good enough reason.
I think it's a terrible reason. How do you know how I make this everything bigger? Ah, that's not much bigger, is it? I feel like an old man going blind here. I'm playing at 1440p on a 32-inch screen this far from me. Like, that's the screen right there. That's as far away as I'm, like an arm's length. And I'm here going, icons.
I think it's a game that like started out when resolutions were smaller.
Yeah, but there's I want a quadruple size. I mean, Kerbal suffers from this horribly.
This has the speed limit on the train tracks. I think there was no big consideration on the level of the infrastructure.
Yes.
How good the rail was.
There are 3 levels of infrastructure in Transport Tycoon, but most of the trains don't have it. I'm trying to work out how to build a monorail. Monorail. No, why is this overwhelming me? I just want to build a station. I don't want to build a bridge, and I can't work out.
On the top row, there's like land, then trains,
Yeah.
then some kind of thing, then trams, and then cars.
Yeah. Do you see this dialogue box that's 3,000 elements long? That is the.
That's the rail thing. I think the monorails are on the next one.
No, I don't. No, I want to just build a train trap. I can't work out how.
Build a rail thing, and then on the right thing, there's like second on right was like where's a pile of gray thing that definitely doesn't stink. And there's like the cargo platform.
Stops can only be built on straight level matching ways.
Build the train, like build 7 straight tracks, and then click 7 times with the cargo thing. That's you have, and I'm watching the stream. It's delayed.
Oh, no! Oh dear.
In the past, where you were selecting an auxiliary building, the third last thing, when the second to last thing is the cargo platform.
It's like village station. There we go. Aha, shift click. Good lord, the music is awful. Dun 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 dun. X doesn't make the trace go see-through.
When write this in power stations, they actually produce power, and it matters like city growth on what has power and what doesn't have power.
Yeah, so Transport Tycoon has never given you a reason that you're doing all this stuff. The Cardiff Russian Orthodox Church Station. Cardiff's near me, that's funny. Trains. Cannot build a depot here. You can. Okay, can I build a depot? There. No, there. Yes.
You build on top of tracks in transfer pad 2 and you like build it on an empty spot.
Oh man, this UI is awful.
It seems like different than Transport Tycoon.
Well, it's like
I
I
don't
click
think
on.
it's that any better.
No, it's ugly. It looks like a Windows 3.1 app. Okay. It says part of my. Three vehicles stored here. Okay. Do I drag it? I click and then it generates three things. See,
By default hides of a lot of things.
so in Transport Tycoon, when I do that, it doesn't pop up warning. What it would do is when I click on the train station, I get a new pop-up window with all the commands for that train.
Yeah, schedule is what you want. You want to schedule where it's going. For your purposes, maybe just go to the Russian station and then hit start. That's the line. Put that second field, not the name field.
Well, I've got serves line. Oh god. Yes, this is something Transport Tycoon has thankfully avoided, is getting into the realms of train nerds who really want to overdo it. What was the Sid Meier one? Railroad Tycoon did this. But I can't work out. I can set a schedule. Create new line. No schedule set. Set schedule set. So what do I click on? Create new line? Or create...
You go in the schedule. If you want to create a line based on the schedule, I think there's a button for it.
Hey, Henry.
Howdy. Good game?
We did it. It was different. I mean, it was old. It suffered from being an old game that wasn't the best it could be. Okay, now I need to... Serves line 1. Can't find a route. How can you do a clone of Transport Tycoon and make it worse? Right, the Transport Tycoon, the pop-up floaty windows are amazing. It makes things so clear what's going on.
I don't see how this is different. I think this is acquired taste stuff.
Where's my train? Where? Okay. How do I pop up a dialogue box, give me the commands that train and only that train should do?
That's the schedule.
No, that's all trains, surely. I want this train.
There's a list of trains. And when it's in the depot, it's not like assembled.
Can't find a route.
Convoy 1 of 1. If you buy multiple trains, you could then switch between them with the left and right arrows.
Yeah, but I need to get this train going here. So I've
That's
got
the problem that didn't find a route. It might be that you built the station that you built. It doesn't have rail support. You can't like enter it. It's like an additional building.
Okay, yeah. So it's telling me here. So all the train lines are predetermined. So Transport Tycoon, it would just go off and going, I haven't got a clue what you're trying to get me to do there. Wow. See, that's what I mean about poor interface. It wasn't clear. There wasn't a button marked take me to the error. It was just no, that's not possible. I said it's the barrier for entry on simple tasks must be very low on these things. Oh, doesn't tilt up the hills. Oh, that makes me sad. It's called Simutrans. It's a more modern Transport Tycoon clone. It's not as good as R1 will be, though, Rob. R1 will be brilliant. A train. Oh my god! Now you're going back somewhere. Wasn't A-Train an Amiga game? Are there new ones? 85. Now, right. Do you mean A-Train Express for VR on PlayStation 4? Do you mean A-Train PC Classic? There's so many of them. Oopsie. Oh, wait. A-Train has got... Oh, yeah. Japan. We don't do Bloom like this anymore. That's no longer a thing. We've moved away from the whole game looking like Bastille across the lens. Oh, there doesn't seem to be any... So there's A-Train PC Classic. 45 quid? Good luck. Oh, now the train's decided it can't find a route back. Well, if you show me a picture... So I'm assuming trains can't turn around in this.
I think that's not the issue. The other station is like not. It's like made out of post offices. It's not doesn't have a good rail part to go on to.
Yeah. So A-Train was a conversion of it wasn't an Maxis game, it was a conversion of the ArtDink game, who have done 1,000,001 A-Train games.
There's a bit of a line between what's user error and what's an approachability issue.
Oh, this is totally user error. Absolutely. No questions asked. What have I done wrong? You have to tell me what I've done wrong. Or I'm sitting here going... You're just telling me I've done something wrong, but I don't know what. But it is approaching midnight. I should get to bed, as ever. But a happy birthday to you, Shuttle, for yesterday for you.
Yay!
Yes, happy birthday. Sorry.
We will. So we'll play. I have played Plants vs Zombies: Garden Warfare 1 and 2. I have found them massively enjoyable. It looks like the setup is the same as Battlefront, though. We'll be in squads of 4, and then we just kind of bundle onto the same server. So we'll have a look. It might be great, might be awful, but I play Garden Warfare a lot, and I play Garden Warfare even more than that. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Shalkka, for introducing us to Achron. It's a pity that it's been abandoned, because I say it had a... They could
well, if the audience wants to change that, you are free to blame. And if you want to hit me up to play at that, I would be welcome that. I understand that if we don't revisit that, but like
he likes
support
trains.
games that you think should be made more.
Absolutely.
And not the most easiest thing.
And if only we just married Transport Tycoon and time travel somehow. No. Anyway, guys, we'll see you all tomorrow for Plants
Hit the
vs
bells
Zombies.
and hit the thumbs.
Make sure you hit like. Please hit like on the video. That's really helpful. I don't know if it's an equivalent of Twitch, but I appreciate all the support for you. And we'll see you again tomorrow. And if we're playing this game, the music's going off, definitely.